900 or text Amanda to 600-700.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website. Gutter helmets right on the front of the website. Do you have a gutter helmet to fit my head? I have a small head.
We have a gutter helmet for every head, Adam. So anyhow, if you give us a call, we'll come out and take a look at your windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, and of course we can do the gutter helmet. We have financing programs that are really good. So we have like 12 months with 0 payments for 12 months. You don't have to pay anything. So if you're thinking about home improvements and you're thinking you're saving up for it, just come on and see us and we'll go ahead and get you set up and get your project done and you can pay in 12 months from now.
I feel like you're speaking directly to me. If it's for the exterior of your home, there is no better place than the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online, aluminumcompany.com. Siding, roofing, windows, entry doors, storm doors, and the world-famous gutter helmets. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, 1-800-672-4348.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help, 1-800-222-1222.
If you're watching football this weekend, you know how it goes. Somebody's always hungry by the first quarter. So call Pizza Hut and get the Big New Yorker for just $10. Our biggest pizza for the biggest games. These slices are huge, like use 2 hands and fold it huge. Feed your crew and order ahead at pizzahut.com or in the app.
Pizza Hut!
Ask for limited time offer. Prices, participation, and availability may vary. Additional charge for extra toppings, max 3 and extra cheese. Taxes, tip, and delivery fee not included.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Still chilly out there for it today, but all that sunshine helping to melt some of the slick spots that are left on those neighborhood streets. We'll see a high of 40 degrees. It's Groundhog Day, so the groundhogs and armadillos, or whatever they are, seeing their shadows, of course, typically means 6 more weeks of winter. All we can say is this week looks like winter. 22 overnight tonight, a high of 46 tomorrow with variably cloudy skies.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 513 points to 49,405. Market update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite.
Duke closing in on their 20th win of the season. Foster, here's Boozer. Got it! That felt like the dagger.
Rebounded by Evans. He'll lob it. Oh! Caleb Wilson. Aho with it. Carolina in. Aho drives. Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Happy Monday, everybody. New week. Try to make it work for you. I'm Tim Donnelly. Max Gorin producing the show, sitting in for Dennis today. It is a Monday, as I said, which means we will have a Monday Soundoff. 4:15 today. Phone lines open for all of you to call in and make whatever points you want to make. Carolina Hurricanes had a weekend, up and down. College basketball. All 3 teams in the Triangle had nice wins. It is Carolina Duke week. It is Super Bowl week. It is Monday, which means Monday Soundoff, where we will open up the phone lines for you, is in a little over an hour. In the meantime, as we always start the show, let's jump into the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Carolina Hurricanes had themselves a weekend. A couple of overtime games. Lost to the Caps on the road 4-3 in overtime on Saturday. returned home, beat the Kings 3-2 in overtime on Sunday. I tried the elevator pitch, right? You got to be able to summarize something into like 15 seconds, just one sentence. You know, the idea being, I don't know, you're in an elevator ride with some executive, and that's all the time you have to get him to convince whatever, give you a job, give you money. I don't know. And I thought about this weekend, right? 2 games. You had a Freddie Anderson start. You had a Brandon Bussey start. You had an overtime win. You had an overtime loss. Yet you had goals that seemingly were perfectly placed. You had missed opportunities where it seemed like you had the whole net at your disposal, and you decided to hit it into the goalie's chest. You had all of these different things, and that's the best I could do for an elevator pitch. Some good, some more bad. 2 games closer to the Olympics break. Like, that's what I think this weekend was. Because by the end of this week, they're going to be either, switching out their sweaters for their countries, or switching out their grind of a regular season for a vacation somewhere. And I don't want to say they were checked out, although you could argue on Saturday it appeared that way at times. I don't want to say they weren't trying hard, because I fully imagine and fully believe that the culture within the Canes would refuse any notion towards low effort. But I think it's really hard to take anything away from this weekend and build on it moving forward, because it just looked like an outlier in a lot of ways. They gave up a 3-0 lead and lost in overtime on Saturday. We could start there. I don't think they played well enough to have a 3-0 lead. But you get it, right? It's sometimes you get a little puck luck and things bounce your way and you're up 3-0. Once you do, it becomes absolutely unacceptable to fall all the way back to losing in overtime. Rod Brindamore after the game, wildly disappointed. We don't have to play all the audio for you, but I'll give you a smattering. This is from Brindamore's direct quote. From opening puck drop to the end, I don't think I've ever been a part of a 60-minute game where we were that bad. Yowzers. More. You can't get any worse than that. Whew, yowzers. 0 intensity. We just wanted to get through the game. Just nothing. That's all about Saturday's game. Then you come back to the Sunday game at home, and you have the 2-0 lead. You give it up. You get to overtime. Overtime, Aho is a killer. And you escape. Bussey gets the win. Aho gets the game winner. And it probably makes the weekend feel a little bit better than it should. But, again, some good. I'd say a little more bad. 2 games closer to the Olympics break. I believe they're only 2 games away from the Olympics break. So, this is the part, if you've ever run the 400 in track, just the 1-lap sprint, this is the part where your vision's a little blurry. You're just trying to get home. Not saying you're working any less hard or being dumb or anything like that. It's just got to get home. That is number 1. Let's go ahead and jump to number 2.
Number 2.
College basketball. We've now had a few of these, and I think it's really good for what I always prioritize in the ACC, which is it better come through the triangle, right? The best basketball better be played right here in the triangle. Seems like every Saturday, 3 up, 3 down, right? Whether whatever the order they play them in, or sometimes they're all at noon. 3 up, 3 down. UNC smoked Georgia Tech, NC State smoked Wake, and Duke smoked Virginia Tech. Varying degrees of opponent. I would say Georgia Tech almost near the bottom. Wake, better than their record says they are. I don't know how much longer we can say that. But they're middle, I guess. And then Virginia Tech's actually in the top half of the league. They all ran up into a triangle team, and they all got bodied. Double-digit wins, and sometimes flirting with 20. And even better than that, each of them had something very, very good, right? The win and, right? The side quests I talk about once you establish yourself as the better team. What else do you want to get done in a win? UNC. Seth Trimble, right? We're going to talk about them a million times this year, and so much of it is going to come back to can someone on their perimeter step up? They had Luka Bogovic, they had Seth Trimble, both score big, and that was plenty for Henry Vesar, who bounced back from a rough game, and Caleb Wilson to do the rest. 91-75 victory. Obviously, the most important people in the win were the two big guys, but I think the most important to the win were the two perimeter players that found a way to score. Derek Dixon a little bit quieter since, in a game since he took over as the starter, but Trimble and Luka by far did enough. NC State smoked Wake Forest. Shout out Paul McNeil. If you listened to the show on Friday, I had a feeling he was going to kind of be the other scorer, that other guy that steps up, and when he gets cooking from three, completely opens up their team. Right? It makes Darian Williams more effective, which, by the way, he was very effective. It gives Copeland the opportunity to be more of a creator and a passer, which, by the way, double-digit assists. It gives everybody a little bit more juice to what they do best. If McNeil can more often than not shoot it well from deep, they're going to be a difficult out. And then Duke smoked Virginia Tech. Cam Boozer's pretty darn good. And their defense, 72-58. They're now – it's not unusual for them to hold an ACC opponent in the 50s. Only, unlike the Virginia teams of the past where that was not abnormal, they aren't also scoring in the 50s, right? They're in the 70s. They're in the 80s. In this case, it was 72-58. And while Virginia Tech hung around, I think the Duke defense was pretty dominant from the jump. If you hold someone to 58 and you're pretty guaranteed like 18 or more from Cam Boozer, if the rest of your roster can't come up with 40 points, 41 points, like – what are we doing here?
Yeah. Duke is currently 11th in the country in terms of scoring defense, 64.3 points against per game. It's pretty good. Best in the ACC.
Pretty good. I would say that's really good. And on top of that, that you're already starting to see, and every fan base does it, but you're starting to see all of the people are taking Cam Boozer for granted. I agree, right? He's been really good every game, essentially, so he's not surprising you as much, but I don't think anyone's taking him for granted. He's the best player and the leading candidate to be National Player of the Year, and he plays for Duke. I think he's going to get his love. That was number 2. Let's jump to number 3.
Number 3.
It is Super Bowl week, right? We've made it through the weird week in the offseason or in the midway point between Conference Championship week and Super Bowl week. I think they should be playing it this week. I don't get why they have the 2 weeks.
Well, because they have to have the Pro Bowl games.
Pro Bowl games aren't even on the weekend.
Wait, they're not?
They're tomorrow.
That shows how much I watch the Pro Bowl games.
Two Browns quarterbacks going to be there, by the way. Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco, who were teammates on the Browns at the beginning of the year, both Pro Bowlers. Joe Flacco's first Pro Bowl. Crazy. But, yeah, I think they should be playing now. I think it's a weird, breaks on the system. I think football is played every week, and they should play it every week. But that's neither here nor there. The other thing that happened over the weekend involving this kind of mid-whatever Super Bowl prep week, all of the, at least reportedly, all of the head coaching openings are now filled. Clint Kubiak's still the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. He's obviously going to see that through. But the reports are that as soon as he's done with that, he will move over and be the head coach of the Raiders. And then Mike LaFleur, not Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Mike LaFleur, brother, jumps from being one of Sean McVay's offensive coaches, OC over there with the Rams, to being the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. 10 openings, 10 filled. That means Evero will not be taking the Raiders job if the reports are correct. And that means everything about the Panthers essentially is going to be the same next year. Every coach, although there's a couple titles that might be different, same guys. There's no real gigantic name free agents that are leaving. The way I'll put it is there's no buts. Right? When they play next year, if they're not better, if they take a step back, and I'm talking more eye test than record, there's going to be no, but they lost their play caller. Yeah, but they don't have so-and-so the Pro Bowler. Yeah, but there is none of that. And there's the draft, which they have 7 picks, not their original picks, but actually slightly better. They have 7 picks. They have their free agency, rising cap. They have ways to get better this offseason. First of all, that's good front office work, right? Because if you're not losing anything and you can get better, that means you've structured everything pretty well. That's good work by the coaching staff. The stability is there. There's no yeah buts. If you lose a coordinator, a step back or two, especially early in the season, might be explained away. Not this year. And that is the big 3 at 3. When we come back, there's only so many ways to describe a Canes win in overtime and a Canes loss in overtime. We're going to try to hit them all. Coming up next, stick around.
It's time to start a new year, maybe make a New Year's resolution, and how about a new drink? I'm Victoria Bodenecker here for Blue Shark Vodka, and it's time to create a new beverage as we kick off a new year. Blue Shark Vodka is the smoothest, cleanest vodka from a family-owned business, which is made locally here in North Carolina. And their handcrafted bottles are sure to catch your eye with their 3D shark swimming around at the bottom. So go check them out at your local ABC store and visit their website for recipes and details at BlueSharkVodka.com.
February is Heart Health Month, and I'm Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan, joined today by Dr. Faisal Khan from Wake Med Heart and Vascular. Is there any type of warning sign that a person experiences before sudden cardiac arrest?
Well, if there is a history of murmurs, if there's a history of passing out and not knowing exactly what happened, if there's a history of sudden cardiac death in the family, or if you have an abnormal EKG, those could be indicators that you may have a problem with your heart. So make sure you talk to your doctor about if you have any of those things happen to you.
What are the warning signs for a heart attack?
So if you're getting more short of breath, you climb a flight of stairs and you're getting short of breath, you have tightness or sensation of books on your chest or heaviness on your chest. If you're having dizziness, those could be signs that you may have problems with the blood flow to your heart, which could lead to heart attacks. If you're not feeling well, don't sit at home. We see that too many times.
Act fast. Dr. Khan, appreciate you taking the time today.
My pleasure.
Go to wakemed.org to find a cardiologist near you or to learn more about your heart's health.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom-installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Nikishin, good job to keep it in off the glass. Backhand chance. Blake, puck still loose. Blake settling it, making a play, working out in front. Knocked away Nikishin. He scores! Alexander Nikishin with the loose change, and he lets it fly. And Carolina has that 2-0 lead.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Shout out to Mike Maniscalco for the call there from the Canes' 3-2 victory over the Los Angeles Kings at home in an overtime period. That 2-0 lead did not last long. Good thing Nikishin scored it when he did, because the Kings answered right back to make it 2-1 like 30 seconds later. This weekend, man, if you're a Canes fan that like lives and dies with every play, I hope you like slept well Saturday night and you got to bed early last night, because those games were exhausting. And the reason why at the beginning of the show I wanted to emphasize some good, I think more bad, was the highs did feel really, really good. Some things that you might have been waiting for a long time did happen. Sebastian Aho not only broke a 12-game goal-less streak, but then he scores an overtime game winner to go ahead and end the streak the following game with a little bit more sizzle, right? I'm sure there were in the second game, right? You got to differentiate. The Caps game, you're up 3-0, you lose in overtime. The next game, you're up 2-0, you go to overtime. There probably was some like, oh, no, not again. Especially when you think back to, what was it, the Florida swing earlier this year where you had all these multiple goal leads and they all flipped right back on you. So perhaps there's the good, right? Earlier in this season, you have multiple earlier this season, you have multiple opportunities to kind of let them slip away after big leads, and for the most part, you let them slip away. This one, you bowed your neck at the last second. You got to overtime behind Bussy, and obviously Aho with a 2-minute shift in overtime finds a way to win the game. That's the move, right? That's what you're looking for. And then some trends, again, talking the good, continue to develop. I'll go with this one. Shane Gostisbehere and Jordan Staal, from like creating goals and scoring goals, are showing something that, either they haven't shown in a long time or perhaps never have. Right? The Shane Gostisbehere, right, rusty, coming back from injury, whatever you want to call it, has shown some rusty decision-making, but also the guy's producing a bananas amount of points.
Yeah, there are only, I believe it's 7 defensemen in the NHL right now that are at least a point per game. He is one of them. He's exactly 38 points in 38 games, so would love to see him be able to stay on the ice and continue scoring at that rate. But, he's been huge, especially with the power plays kind of resurgence from, it was like 6%, like 10 or 20 games into the year, to now it's like right around league average, if not maybe even a little bit above. I'd have to double check, but they're certainly hitting at a much better clip, and a large part of that is because of him. And how many of those guys averaging a point per game take, not random, right, they're due to injury, but seemingly random, like 2 and 3 week breaks, and then come back and continue picking up right where they left off? Then Jordan Staal, speaking of the power play, right? The moment that the power play this season kind of turned is when they started putting Jordan Staal out there to take faceoffs. And he's scoring goals. Canes' power play now is ranked 13th in the NHL, 21.6%. Tell somebody that back in November, and they'd look at you like you were crazy. They probably would have assumed, like, oh, they traded for Jason Robertson or something. Like, oh, they went and got – no, it's Jordan Staal that's kind of the spark. And that power play set piece that ended with Stahl's goal, that was not there when they were averaging 6% or whatever stats Max just gave you. It wasn't there. And quite frankly, Jordan Staal, I mean, for all the great things he does, 13 goals this year. I mean, is a 20-goal season on the way for Jordan Staal? It might be. I remember he had one. It was a handful of years ago now. It's been a little bit. I think more than a handful. I was tweeting this out a bunch earlier. I should bring it back. When he started a little on fire scoring goals, I was updating everybody on what his career bests were because I thought it was hilarious. He had a 29-goal season his rookie year with the Carolina Hurricanes, which he's now been here since 13-14. So the 2012-2013 season. Let me make sure I get that right. He has not had more than exactly 20 goals. And that was in 2016. I thought that was a lot more recent. Obviously, I know he's not exactly a point per game type of player, but 13 is how many goals he had all of last season. He's playing 23 less games. There's a lot of guys this year that are either matching stats from last year, exceeding them. Andrei Svechnikov's already surpassed his goal total from last year, and he's going to have potentially a career high in points this year as well. If he stays the pace he's been on the last 45 games. He should be able to get there pretty easily. But the difference is, I think everybody has always watched Svech and knew that was in there somewhere. And the reason it was so frustrating sometimes to watch Svech is because you knew that was in there somewhere and it just wasn't popping up enough. Staal, I don't know if anybody was watching Staal these past 2 years going, he probably has 25 goals scoring in there somewhere. There's a lot of, you think of all the different ways he impacts the game positively. I don't know if you need for him to be an effective, and you get into all that. No, he's just scoring goals now. And he's doing something that power play needs. A, winning faceoffs, but B, get in front of the net a decent amount.
Now we're talking about the good. Let's talk about the good. Brandon Bussey, 21-3-1. And it's almost a race. Every time a game ends and Brandon Bussey's in net, which means more than likely the Carolina Hurricanes have won the game, it's like a race to see who can put up the stat or the record that he broke fastest, right? Fastest to 21 goals in NHL history. He's now 14-1 at the Lenovo Center, which he's tied for the most home wins this year by a goaltender, despite the fact that he's played so many fewer games than the goalies that he's competing with. He's tied for 4th in the wins league-wide, played 25 games. Every other goalie ahead of him has played 34 or more. It's not even all him. It's one of those like magical runs, right? I talk about when a skater is on fire, goals find them as much as they find goals. Brandon Bussey, wins are finding him, and maybe not as much as he finds wins, but they're playing better in front of him. Freddie will be out there, he'll face 40 shots. Bussey will get out there, he'll face like 7, and it's over the same length of time. They're playing better in front of him, and I'm not blaming Bussey. I don't even know if I can explain it other than you get into the psychology of sports, and they're just more confident, and they whatever. But Brandon Bussey getting another win is nothing to be glanced over.
Yeah, and the Kings had, 3 shots in the first period yesterday. The shot suppression, it was a low event on both sides in the first period, other than, kind of outside of the game, extracurriculars, some physicality, some fighting going on. But in terms of, actual shots and scoring chances, it wasn't a ton other than the Jordan Stahl goal. So it was very high shot suppression there in the first period especially.
There's one more thing I want to get to, and then we can talk about the physicality in both games. Alexander Nikishin with the snipe. That's just what so many people are waiting to see.
It's a beautiful thing.
You want more opportunities for it. I want him to get a few so he feels like he can take more, right? I think it was Trip Tracy that called it Snipeville on the broadcast, and I agree. That's just, Rod Brindamore has said it. His offense showed up ready-made, right? His offense showed up, just add water, put in the microwave, whatever, ready to roll. It's been some of the defensive communication and things that he needs to pick up to reach his potential. But every once in a while he makes a play like that, and you just go, yep, offense, ready to roll, gotcha. Now let's talk about the physicality, because there were 2 parts. In the Caps game, there's the Logan Stankoven hit, right? The Tom Wilson hit on Logan Stankoven. Now, actually, Max, you'd probably be better at this as somebody that at least recreationally plays the game. I've never played hockey, so I other than very, very loose pickup with family members. I don't pretend to know how difficult it is or when I watch a football game, if I know what's targeting and I know what's incidental contact. I've played football, so I know there's no way that guy was trying to do head-to-head contact or whatever. I don't know as much about hockey, so I tend to lean on others. Tom Wilson's hit on Logan Stankoven, I almost don't care if you think it was dirty or not.
It's got to at least be a penalty.
I think that's what most people are saying, but here's the part that I really don't like. The conversation that has followed in the days since, in the hours after, is all of the height differential conversation. I get it, right? I'm a taller guy, right? I'm just under 6'4", and sometimes I remember playing basketball. It's like my elbows are just his height. I can't choose where my elbows go. If he gets a bloody lip, am I supposed to hang my arms lower? Am I supposed to shrug the? I get it. But the way that everybody reacted, I'd be very nervous if I were a shorter guy in the in the NHL, because it feels like it's going to just be open season as long as the guy is 6'3" or taller and he's making the hit, because you're allowed to target anywhere and just go, he's shorter than me. If somebody is 5'10" or shorter and they're getting hit by someone 6'4", you could use every argument that they've used to say Tom Wilson shouldn't deserve punishment or didn't deserve a penalty on Logan Stankoven, and it's just all right, cool, open season. Short guys get rocked, and there's nothing the tall guys can do about it, but, put them in concussion protocol or whatever else you want to say. Now, maybe the opposite isn't fair either. If just every tall guy keeps getting punished and penalized for hits that would be normal. But hockey players, you got to tell me something, because Logan Stankoven is there's a lot of guys that are Tom Wilson's height that are going to be playing against Logan Stankoven, and he just can't take hits like that, every couple of nights, every few nights, and go, well, what am I going to do? That's just how tall I am. Like, that's not okay.
No, height differential was not a justification for that hit, especially considering that the puck wasn't even really there anymore. That at least has to be some kind of roughing or check to the head or something. Just because he's taller doesn't mean that you can, lay a hit where the principal point of contact is the head. I'm just glad Logan Stankoven was able to pop right up and
tough guy
to be mad about it, because if not, it looked like it was a pretty vicious hit, and Tom Wilson that's a heavy guy. He can lay him pretty good, so I'm just glad he was able to pop up and keep playing.
I don't want to say I was joking about it, but they did show footage on the broadcast of Logan Stankoven bloodied in the previous game, and broadcasters jinx. He doesn't get bloodied very often, but once they showed it, it felt like it was going to happen. And then in the Kings game, I can't think of many opportunities where a hockey player wanted to be in a fight less than Martinook wanted to be in a fight at the start of the second period. Didn't even get his gloves off. And I know people are going to be mad at the Canes for this whole weekend, right? Certain individuals that I interact with are going to be mad because, why didn't anyone go and settle it? Why didn't anyone go and defend their teammates? Why didn't anyone? I still think, and I don't know if I'm ever going to fully get out of this mindset, because I know hockey players, hockey fans think differently. I still think the best way to get them back is on the scoreboard, and because of that, I feel like they did get retribution against the Kings and they didn't against the Caps. But I can hear you if you're like, well, at some point, sometime this weekend, somebody should have started getting the defense rolling. But it's hard to know what's going on. I don't pretend to be a keeper of the unwritten rules in NHL hockey, but a weekend like that is going to make those that were calling for a few additional big guys that are not afraid to drop them. I think that those calls are going to be quite loud as we head towards the trade deadline.
Yeah. Oh, it's not like they need like a old school enforcer who's just out there to fight, but if there's somebody who's big and skilled that you can add, particularly to the forward group, I'm sure that's something that they're looking into acquiring if it's available out there. And if not, they're just going to search and see where they can improve along the margins in that time as well. So I feel like they'll add something at some point. With it being so close to the break now, I'm thinking probably after Olympics, if nothing is really picking up a lot of smoke here, and it doesn't really seem like it is. It doesn't seem like there's really a ton of trade activity league-wide, even though it was supposed to be like a burst here before the freeze. So I guess we'll see what happens, but they do need to find a way to somehow hold on to these leads. Maybe don't go up so many goals, and because then you feel like you have to still get the next one and you don't kind of fall back a little bit. I'm not sure what it is, but
this is where the Canes roster is. Somebody on Twitter asked me, who'd I rather get in a fight with, Tom Wilson or Alexander Nikishin? And that's the Canes volunteer into that conversation, right? Tom Wilson probably has 100 fights in his career. Nikishin has 1. And that's who you're throwing into the ring in those mythical fun bar conversations. So I think that's probably what people want, is somebody that's a little bit more willing. But I also don't want Nikishin doing a ton of it because he's too darn important. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's have some fun here. If you've been on our social media, I believe we posted a video explaining this. It's time for big game boxes with The Drive. The boxes, right? The grids on big game parties. You show up and everybody's having a good time. You get a couple squares on the grid for yourself. We're doing it with you. 4 times a show, not an hour. 4 times a show this week. We will get callers. We'll take caller number 10. That caller will get 5 randomly assigned boxes on our grid. And then the grid will be decided Friday at 6. I believe we're going to post the actual grid on social media. So by the time of the big game, you know what numbers you're rooting for. The person with the box containing the right pair of numbers at the end of the big game will win a prize. That prize, a signed football from the hands of Pro Bowl defensive tackle Derek Brown. You could argue he's the best player for Carolina. That's maybe not even an argument. We have a signed football being given to one of you, but you got to win it in big game boxes. So to do that, you have to call in. We're opening up the phone line right now, 919-860-5326 if you want to get 5 boxes on the grid. 919-860-5326. You could win a Derek Brown signed football, but you got to call in now. Caller number 10 gets the first 5 randomly assigned boxes. And while Max makes sure those first couple of callers are adequately communicated with, I'll tell you all about Mainer Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Mainer Service Company. Do you remember with all this weather that came in the last week, everybody was super worried about what if you lose power? What if this breaks? What if that breaks? Are you prepared? Well, that's kind of what Mainer Service Company is there for, right? Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, the things that send everybody into an absolute frenzy if they break down or if they're not available to you are exactly what Mainer Service Company works on, fixes, and keeps reliable. So whether you are worried and you just want them to come out, service call, maintenance call, right? Get them to check out all of your systems and make sure they're okay. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical running as efficiently as they can so you can avoid problems, or whether you're dealing with a problem now, right? Something doesn't sound right, water's coming from a place it shouldn't, the electricity isn't working, heating, cooling, whatever it is, Mainer Service Company is the number to remember. I'll tell it to you right now. 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online at MainerServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. We will take a break. When we come back, we have 2 minutes of gold and the Dean's List. Don't go anywhere.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $6.99. That's right, just $6.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Breakfast burritos for the morning brainstorm. Easy Cater. Paninis for the lunch and learn. Easy Cater. Barbecue for the clients from Boston. Easy Cater. Brownie boxes and mini bundt cakes for Brenda's workiversary. Easy Cater. One simple platform to feed any size group with food they love from favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Easy Cater. All the food for your workplace, all in one place. Start an order at easycater.com.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Last call for football is here. Super Bowl Sunday, a mere 6 days away. And FanDuel is loading up with a daily profit boost. Man, today's 30% profit boost. Passing yards, over under. 225.5 for Drake May. You like over or under? I kind of like over. Sam Darnold, 227.5. Why is it the same? Darnold's been balling out. Maybe that should be higher too. Hey, you can adjust the line if you want. All you got to do, opt in each day, place an eligible bet to use that day's profit boost. Play your game with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60, and enjoy the game. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You've heard my thoughts about the weekend that was for the Carolina Hurricanes. Just 2 more games, by the way, until the Olympic roster freeze. You've heard my thoughts on it. Now let's get someone else's take. We have 2 minutes of gold, all about yesterday's overtime win for the Carolina Hurricanes. And with Adam Gold out, stepping in as a I guess a pinch hitter, if you will, to go cross-sport analogy. We have Dennis Cox with 2 minutes of gold, all about the Canes win.
2 minutes for 2 more points scored on a Sunday afternoon where there are only about 2 inches of snow on the ground. Dennis Cox in for Adam Gold, here with 2 minutes of gold, brought to you by Parkway Sleep Health Centers. And yesterday in the Lenovo Center against the LA Kings, they came into town and, well, it was the old King captain himself for the Carolina Hurricanes that made it 1-0 on the power play.
Stall with a clean win. Gossesbear moves it quickly. Right out in front. They score! The captain in the garden spot with the deflection. And a power play goal has Carolina up 1-0.
Carolina had plenty of chances, but unfortunately weren't able to capitalize. But there was one guy that has been reliable for this team since the start of the year, and that's Brandon Bussey.
Now Armia takes a feed from Doughty. Back across, shot right up. Bussey makes the save on Moore.
That's his second quality stop. He's leading the league, it seems like, with big saves in high danger slot opportunities, and Bussey has made 2 good ones here early in the first 5 minutes.
Even though the chances really weren't abound for the LA Kings, just 13 shots on goal as a whole for the LA Kings yesterday, Brandon Bussey was there when you needed him to make the save once again.
Kempe, he tries the short side and goes off the side of the net. Picked up here by LaFerriere. Out in front, Kempe, Bussey with the save.
Things were tight checking throughout most of the game, but the Carolina Hurricanes finally able to pounce on an opportunity as a rebound popped out to the big Russian, Alexander Nikishin, and he buries his 7th of the year.
Backhand chance, Blake, puck still loose. Blake settling it, making a play, working out in front. Knocked away Nikishin, he scores! Alexander Nikishin with the loose change, and he lets it fly. And Carolina has that 2-0 lead.
Now, Carolina was not able to hold their lead. After Nikishin scores, a turnover by the Hurricanes' 4th line, all of a sudden it's right in the back of the net, and it's 2-1 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. And not too far after that in the 3rd period, LA Kings, they strike once again. Quentin Byfield right there on the back post. A puck was able to find its way through Logan Stankoven and Keandre Miller, and Quentin Byfield able to tap it in. All of a sudden, it's 2-2, and we're headed into overtime. But who shines in overtime? None other than Sebastian Aho himself.
Aho with it. Carolina in. Aho drives. Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime. And what a relief for the Canes to come up big as Aho knocks it home.
Sebastian Aho, since 3-on-3 overtime began in the 2015-2016 season, he has 18 overtime goals. 18! That is 2nd in the NHL, only behind Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. That's it. Sebastian Aho, in overtime, it's almost automatic at this point. Almost as automatic as a great night of sleep that you could possibly get when you visit ParkwaySleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers, sound sleep, sound health, sound the bells for 2 more points on a snowy afternoon.
That's 2 minutes of gold with our very own Dennis Cox, right? The name doesn't flow as well when Adam's not here, but 2 minutes of gold nonetheless for, obviously, overtime win for the Canes yesterday. Their next game, by the way, will be coming up, I believe, tomorrow. Let me make sure I get the time and everything correct. Yep, tomorrow versus Ottawa, home, 7 o'clock. So you can catch 2 minutes of gold next on Wednesday. Looks like we've blown past the stop set here a little bit, so we're going to move on from the Dean's List and get straight to winners and losers, and that's going to come up right after this right here on 99.9 The Fan.
Looking for the ultimate big game play? Come catch all the action at the Dugout Tavern and Grill in Apex. We've got a massive 16-foot surround sound video wall so you can watch every play and the famous ads in all their glory. During the big game, the Dugout is serving buy one, get one half off appetizers and $15 Sweetwater buckets all day. Come back Fat Tuesday to watch the big college rivalry basketball game with the Dugout and cheer on the athletes in Italy with $6 Peroni Euro Lager during the winter games. Catch all the games at the Dugout Tavern and Grill on Kelly Road in Apex.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here, popping in real quick to remind you all about my good friends over at Law Tigers and what they are offering you right now. The Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Simple to enter. Just got to go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com. Bike will be given away live April 4th at the game, and it includes tickets to a catered suite. Simple to enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. caniacsbike.com. I'm looking forward to the springtime. I'm enjoying the snow and all that right now. Please don't get me wrong. But I'm looking forward to the springtime, getting back out on the motorcycle. And if you win this motorcycle, you hit me up. We'll go riding together. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Now, let's take a short break from our 8-hour ode to the oboe for a word from our sponsor, Mr. First Tuesday. Get your scratch-offs on the very first Tuesday. Looks like we've got a caller on the line.
How are you not more excited about new scratch-offs? There's millions in prizes.
Who is this?
Oh, this is Mr. First Tuesday. And by the way, it goes, get your scratch-offs on the very first Tuesday.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stop, opt out.
Mom, can we get snacks?
Unless chips are on sale for $3.99, we're in a snack drought, buddy.
Hey, remember Current? They can get us up to $750 before payday once we qualify.
Wait, $750 of our money now?
Yep, and they're even offering an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Set up an eligible payroll deposit and see if we qualify for an advance. No hassle, no credit checks.
Gummy worms, here we come.
Current has your back with up to $750 in paycheck advances once you qualify. And right now, get an extra $75 bonus when you set up an eligible payroll deposit. Join the millions who count on Current when it matters most. Text CREDIT to 323232 now. That's credit to 323232. CREDIT to 323232.
Paycheck advances offered by FindCo Advance, LLC. A financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy Monday, everybody. Just so you know, we did do one of the callers registered for our big game boxes with the Drive where you get squares on the grid and the whole thing. I'll explain it when we do it again. But we have 3 more callers to get this show. We're going to do 4 every day this week. Each will receive 5 of the squares on the grid. And each of those callers that are registered will be in the running for if they're grid pops up the score font. You know how squares works. Everybody does it at the big game
Boxes,
parties.
Squares. Eddie was our first caller to get in.
But everybody will be interested or entered to win a signed football from Derek Brown.
Yeah, I guess everyone's going to get, what, 5?
Everybody gets five
squares, random ones
on the grid randomly, and then it's the same thing. We'll bring out the trading cards and put the numbers on the side on Friday, and then go from there. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. But just let you know that there's plenty more opportunities today, even to get your name on the grid. With that being said, there's plenty of time right now to hit a little winners and losers.
This team will never lose again.
All right, winners and losers, and we're talking more vibes than on the scoreboard. Anybody can check the box score and say, this team won. We want more than that. I'll get us started. Winner, Charles Alexis Legault. If you haven't been paying attention, just last hour, I believe we were updated. He is healthy. He's being taken off IR. If you're even further back, Charles Alexis Legault was a rookie defenseman for the Carolina Hurricanes. That earlier in the year, when they were dealing with all of their injuries to the blue line, was given a pretty big opportunity. Played 8 games, about 14 minutes a game, maybe a little less, but had games where he was playing 15, 18 minutes, and showing well for himself. Got people pretty excited about his ability, especially because he's listed at 6'3", 210, and people think they need a little bit of size. Then they were up in Toronto, and he sliced his hand open pretty good. There were tendons that needed to be repaired. Surgery was had, and now he is healthy enough to be designated back to the AHL, and hopefully he can jump right back onto the development path he was on, because he was showing a lot of positive signs during that time. What was it? Early November is kind of when that injury happened. So it's been a while. For a loser, how about the Tampa Bay Lightning? For wearing like full Tampa Bay Buccaneers gear into the outdoor game. Listen, just wear the jerseys. Just wear NHL players look like punters and kickers in football gear, and I'm not saying this is one way. Trust me, you put NHL players in skates, they're going to look just as ridiculous. Like, you're a professional athlete. Don't go out there like, hey, on a good day, I could be Tom Tupa. And also, side note, wear cooler numbers for football. Cool numbers in hockey are the uncool numbers in football. So when you roll out there and everybody's rocking like 47s and 73s, and pick a more cool, like they walked in there not giving off awesome vibes. But you know who was giving off awesome vibes because they just threw a jersey on and chilled? It was Baker Mayfield and Tristan Wirfs at the front. Don't try to like costume up as another sport. Doesn't work. Just like Baker Mayfield looked ridiculous in a basketball jersey. Just don't do it.
Didn't quite fit, yeah.
Do you have some winners and losers, Max?
Yo, I mean, a couple pursuant to that game. Winner, everybody watching at home, because it was an awesome game and probably the NHL's dream for how that could have gone. A ton of goals, lots of fights. NHL kind of a loser, though, for the way that they set up did you see the thing in the intermission? They bring out a guy who's a cancer survivor, and it's a check for $1 million for cancer research. And they're like, and then they bring out one of those boards where it's just a puck-sized hole in the net, and he has to shoot it from the other blue line, and he has to make it to get the $1 million for cancer research. And they ended up giving him a second shot. He missed the net both times. Baker Mayfield comes out like, oh, you didn't hit it, but hey, here's $200,000 for cancer research. Since you missed, they only get $200,000. So that was a bit of an odd move from the NHL. Definitely a loser for that one.
That's always awkward when you're making like a challenge for charity money.
Yeah, like just give him the money anyway, or at least they should have like put out like 5 nets down there. Like, all right, if you make it, like
no, because then if they miss it, it's even worse.
I guess it has
to be like a competition where one side gets $500,000, the other side gets $600,000. Everybody leaves happy. Like it can't be $1 million or $200K, and you make the kid feel like he lost $800,000
for cancer research. So I don't know who greenlit that, but maybe reevaluate. And while we got the Canes logo up there, also another winner, Bradley Nadeau, AHL Player of the Month for last month. 8 goals, 10 assists in 13 games played. And then just to make it so it's not a full hockey segment, because we've talked a lot of hockey already in this game. Not that that's a problem, but I'll give another winner to Brandon Miller and the Charlotte Hornets. Brandon Miller was the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. It was just announced before they tipped off their game. They're currently in the second quarter against the New Orleans Pelicans down in Charlotte. But he was the Eastern Conference Player of the Week last week. The Hornets have won 6 in a row. In the 4 games last week, he averaged 26.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, and was shooting 50% from 3 in those 4 wins. So Brandon Miller is a winner in my book.
I had the Hornets as a winner, but I was only going to use it if they were leading at the time.
Yeah,
they're not
off to a good start against a quite bad Pelicans team right now. So hopefully they heat up a little bit here.
They are on that winning streak though. So, and everybody makes a run in the NBA. There's always time. More winners and losers. We'll go winner Brandon Bussey. You know why. We'll go winner. How about France? The NFL has announced the Saints will be the home team for the first ever NFL game in Paris, France during the 2026 season. The game will take place at Stade de France, country's national stadium. I think we need a cool nickname for like the NFL when we put it like the beautiful game or whatever that soccer's always trying to Brazil's always trying to coin. I think we need like something to call it, because I mean, we're just giving them a gift. We're giving them an NFL game.
They're expanding a lot of NFL international games next year. There are 3 confirmed for London. They're having a game in Madrid. They're having a game in Melbourne next year.
The goal is 1 international game for every team every year. That's what the NFL, excuse me.
Yeah, so that's basically like 1 per week. I mean, I'm sure they'll have multiple because they probably don't want games in week 17 and week 16 to be international. But there's a game in Rio too. They're following the trend of the ACC and NC State and having a game in Rio. And they have a game in Munich as well, and there's even more to be announced, as well as the Saints being the home team for the game in Paris.
Speaking of international vibe, loser, whoever won't clear, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Tomas Laurent Guarino Sabates, short form music. The Olympics are coming up. This is a men's figure skater. I guess he's been dancing all the way up, or skating, not dancing, all the way up to the Olympics using Minions, like the movie, Gru and those guys. Minions music, while dressed as a Minion, like his little sequined outfit is Minions. And he's been doing the short form, and he's just been told that the Olympics can't clear the music. So he has to change his music for the Olympics, which start up in like a week. Who in their right mind was like, this slid across their desk and they were like, ooh, no, we don't want the music being played at the Olympics where it would be seen by hundreds of millions of people, I assume, or at least, a couple million, and also might bring the kids over to your sport. I don't know. It's just weird. I think the Olympics should be like international waters, like anything goes. No copyrights exist at the Olympics. All right, we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more here. Winner, the Raiders. Clint Kubiak was like the crown jewel of the coaching search. It felt like for, maybe a month.
Besides Harbaugh.
Yes, Harbaugh, but he was like out and gone in a flash. He was available and not available in a quick moment. And I think the Raiders just waited everybody out because everybody wanted to officially name their guy and talk to him more. And the Seahawks kept winning, so he kept becoming less available. But it's a good bet. I think the Cardinals maybe were doing the same and struck out. So there you go. And then last one. There was a lot of hockey here, but I got to get one more. Loser. Seth Jarvis and all the 23 and under lists that he's been on forever. Turned 24 yesterday. Felt like, I don't know why the NHL has every media outlet, everyone that covers the sport nationally, they love talking about 23 and under. And Seth Jarvis has been around so long. He's been on those 23 and under lists forever. We've been talking about snubs and, oh, how cool is it that he's mentioned? Well, now he's 24. So I guess, 24 and under isn't as exciting. Happy birthday. That's it for winners and losers here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Up next, we have football at 4. You heard a little bit about it here in winners and losers, but it is Super Bowl week, and the coaching carousel has ceased to spin. What does that mean for the Carolina Panthers? Stick around.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and state so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
February is Heart Health Month, and to learn more, we're joined by Dr. Ashish Patel, an electrophysiologist for WakeMed Heart and Vascular. That is quite a specialty that you have. How does that differ from being a cardiologist?
Great question. Electrophysiology, also known as EP, is a specialty within cardiology. We refocus only on heart rhythm conditions. Diagnoses that you may have heard of called AFib, SVT, and even cardiac arrest.
So you specialize in complex arrhythmias?
Really, the terminology is referred to the fact that we provide specialty procedures for these arrhythmias. And as an electrician of the heart, what we will do is sometimes perform procedures like ablation or pacemakers, defibrillators, various types of procedures to help patients.
Does it affect men or women more frequently?
The distribution of AFib is fairly equal both men and women, and it leads to a lot of problems. So we always have patients recommend that they get checked up for AFib.
To learn more, check out WakeMed Heart and Vascular at wakemed.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, looking at a chilly afternoon, a high temperature of 40 degrees, but definitely warmer than the last several days. That sunshine will help to melt things out there. And of course, with sunshine, the groundhogs may see their shadow. Might have 6 more weeks of winter. It certainly has been cold lately, and it will be a cold week for us. 22 and clear tonight, 46 tomorrow with increasing clouds.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 527 points to 49,420.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We will open up the phone lines in about 15 minutes, maybe a little bit less. We want to get to it right away. But we will be opening up the phone lines for whatever you want to talk about. You want to react to the Canes. If you have a take on the trade deadline. If you have a take on the 2 games over the weekend. College basketball. Whatever your team is. State, Carolina, Duke. If you have a take on the Panthers, take on the Super Bowl, whatever it is, we want to hear it. So that's at about 4:15. We'll open up those phone lines for a Monday Soundoff. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So start getting your thoughts ready. Start getting your dialing fingers ready. If you want to bookmark the number, don't call in now. We'll let you know when. But the number is 919-860-5326. That's the Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326 for about 4:15. Now, here at 4 o'clock, every day of the week, not just Mondays, but yes, Mondays are included, we talk football. It's called Football at 4. And if you're looking at the part of the calendar that we are on, the Super Bowl is happening, right? But also, across the NFL, teams are solidifying. They are making their coaching hires. And over the weekend, we got word from the insiders, right, the people that are in the know, that the Raiders and Clint Kubiak will likely be linking up as head coach and team after the Super Bowl. He's the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator. And the Cardinals are linking up with Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur. And those are the final 2 out of 10 head coaching openings. They're complete. And because of that, kind of the last domino has fallen. We're seeing everything else settle into place. Davis Webb, who was a hot coaching name as the quarterback's coach of Denver, bumped up to offensive coordinator. You're seeing the Saints, 4 guys moved around. The Ravens hiring their defensive coordinator. It's like now that the big pieces are in place, you can fill in everything else. And with unbelievable ability to dodge everyone else's decisions, the Carolina Panthers have remained largely entirely unchanged. Not a single position coach was tapped to be an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator elsewhere. They weren't grabbed, not a single coordinator, somebody like Brad Idzik, who's their offensive coordinator, but not calling plays, was given the opportunity to be a play-calling offensive coordinator elsewhere, right? The way the NFL works is teams can block you from interviewing for parallel jobs. Okay, if you're an offensive coordinator and you don't call plays, you can't go interview to be an offensive coordinator elsewhere that also doesn't call plays unless your contract's up. Then obviously you can do whatever you want. But if another team wants to interview you for a job that would be seen as a promotion, a position coach going to position coach and run game coordinator, a offensive coordinator that doesn't call plays interviewing for offensive coordinator that does call plays, or same on the defensive side of the ball, or obviously any coordinator can always interview for a head coaching job. And because of that, you do have a hint of like uncontrol, opposite of control on your coaching staff, right? You can be under contract and still go interview. You can't block them. You can't, there's all those other things, right? That's the way the NFL does it. And also, what else do we know about the NFL? The reverse is even more brutal, right? If things aren't going well, teams do not hesitate to fire and move on, right? If your unit isn't playing well, meaning, your secondary isn't getting enough interceptions, your tight ends aren't blocking well enough, whatever it is, position coaches will get the heave-ho quick. Coordinators are the head coach's version of a GM firing a head coach, which means it's, bleep rolls downhill. But some of it is like, the higher-ups want to see change, right? Well, we didn't achieve our goals this year. You can't just, bash your head against the wall and do the same things over and over and over again. So somebody's going to come down and say, what are we doing differently? And they point to, well, we fired this coordinator, we fired this position coach, and we're going to bring up these new exciting minds, and that's going to be the difference. There's movement upward and downward at every step in the NFL, and the Panthers had absolutely no movement this offseason. Same head coach, same GM, same assistant GM, even though, or vice president of whatever, Brant Tillis, second in command to Dan Morgan, even though he interviewed with Atlanta. Same defensive coordinator, even though Ejiro Evero interviewed to be a head coach elsewhere, including the Raiders. Same offensive coordinator, same position coaches largely. There is no major coaching changes on the Panthers, which is an unbelievable threading of the needle. Because like I said, if things are going well, you're going to have a bunch of changes. Because other teams are going to want to know what you're doing well, and they're going to want to take some of your guys. If things are going poorly, you're going to feel the need to change things. Somehow, they've walked right down the middle of that line, and they're returning everybody. No major players are leaving in free agency. I'm not saying nobody, right? There are some contracts that are even somebody, this name gets brought up every time I say nobody's, major free agent. Yes, Jalen Coker is technically a free agent. He's not going anywhere, right? He is a, whatever it is, restricted rights free agent. As long as they offer him a 1-year minimum contract, he cannot leave. And they're going to offer him significantly more and probably end up with a long-term contract. So Coker's going nowhere. Some players are leaving. You might argue the biggest, if there is a departure, could be like Ike Ekwonu with injury. But who knows when he'll return and what that rehab is like. This is a nearly completely unique offseason for the Carolina Panthers. And what that means is there are no buts next season. What have we heard a ton with maybe the first 3 years of Bryce Young? Yeah, but he's young and he's learning and he's getting better. Yeah, but he's had a new play caller X amount of times. And yeah, but what have we heard about the defense when Evero and that defensive unit was really, really bad 2 years ago? Yeah, but they just got rid of Brian Burns, and Derek Brown was hurt, and J.C. Horn hasn't been able to stay healthy, and all of this, in and out of the lineup. Well, guess what? Those guys were healthy this year, and you did spend money on the defensive side this past offseason. You brought in Trayvon Merrick, and your corners were pretty solid, and now you have even the ability to spend more this offseason in draft pick and free agency to increase the defense. Yeah, but there is none. There is none this upcoming year. And get it out of the way now. Right? Don't let yourself throughout an offseason sway back towards excuse making. There's no excuses. You made the postseason earlier than you should have thanks to a bad division. So you have experience in the biggest games playing meaningful football all the way down the stretch. Right? Your head coach and offensive play caller is entering year 3. So hopefully he's learned, he's knocked off the rookie jitters and watched enough self-scout, watched enough self-film to no longer be considered but he's new and he's learning, so we're going to put up with a bunch of mistakes. Your quarterback's going into the 4th year, already picked up the 5th-year option, so you have a bigger financial investment. Your offensive line, assuming they do something at left tackle, is extremely, first of all, highly compensated, but also high expectation. You have your number 1 wide receiver. You've already, if you listen to Dave Canales, he dubbed him, right? He said going into next year, Tetairoa McMillan and Jalen Coker will have first crack at being the number 1 and number 2 wide receiver. You already have those before you're going into the offseason, which is something they haven't had in a long time.
And then in the offseason, they can go look at options like picking up a wide receiver 3, picking up a tight end that can be a major threat in the passing game. All that combined with the fact that you're going to have the continuity now of the offense under Dave Canales. It's year 3. We've seen the development go up like the end of the 2024 season into last season. We're seeing the consistent growth as well as they picked up that playoff experience. It looked like Bryce Young was able to be a playoff riser, someone who can rise to the occasion in the big moments. So you're right. There's no excuses here. This needs to be another strong effort. Hopefully improve on the record, get above 500, and be competing to win that division yet again, because it's the same division. I mean, other than the Saints will have Tyler Shuck from the get-go rather than he started mid-season for the Saints, and that's when they kind of turned it around. So it might be a little bit tougher this year. I mean, there's the same kind of bugaboos there. Tampa's still got their playmakers. Mike Evans will be back yet again. He's lurking always.
Maybe. There's some talk about him perhaps not returning to Tampa Bay.
Really?
But
is he a free agent?
That's rumors. I believe so. But
if he is there,
that's a whole different. Well, look at Tampa. Tampa's a perfect example. Grizzard was their offensive coordinator this past year. Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator before that. Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator before that. Year before that, it was Byron Leftwich. The only constant there has been change on the coaching staff. Now, go around. Falcons, new coach. Obviously, everything's going to change there. Probably a new quarterback. You look at the Saints. They had a new coach and a new quarterback this past year.
They're not going to go back to Michael Penix in Atlanta next year?
I mean, if he's healthy enough, he's coming off 2 major knee injuries. And I mean, I'm not 100% sure he's going to be ready next year. And if you're a new coach, guess what? He's not your guy. There's a lot of questions there. But you look at the Panthers, and it's just continuity. Now, maybe I'm different here. I don't always think continuity is perfect. I think you need to shake it up. But there's a lot of people that will say it is a massive, massive luxury that the Panthers are returning everybody. Everybody's a little strong. Most of everybody. Like, no joke, first day of OTAs with the veterans, first day of training camp, whatever day it is, they should be able to fly through day one install. Nobody should be, wait a second, can you go over that again? They should all know what's going on. Thus, no excuses. And say that now, put it in writing, I don't know. Let it somewhere that you'll hold yourself accountable, because every offseason people get real forgiving, right? And then by the start of the next year, you got your excuses built in. Don't be like your buddy at the first tee of a golf round. Talking about I slept funny, my back's a little tight. Didn't get a chance to get to the range, right? I had to get the kids off to school. Didn't get to do this, and I actually I need to get my clubs regripped. They're a little loose, and you just say all that on the first tee. So if you play bad, you can lean back. Remember, I was talking about my back, and I didn't get to the range and the grips, and it's all coming back to me. Don't give yourself those, because the Panthers don't have any of those in real terms. Say no, but no excuses season. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Heister Automotive Group hotline is now open for business. It is a Monday sound off. If you have Panthers takes, if you want to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, you can try. Canes takes, obviously up and down weekend. College basketball, all three teams in the Triangle won over the weekend. Could be a national story, Super Bowl, whatever it is. We want to hear from you, and we want to let you sound off. So call in now. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. We'll do our best not to keep you waiting long. 919-860-5326. Call in now. We'll hear from you for Monday Sound Off next.
Dennis Cox here, real quick, for my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Something that I'm looking forward to here in the future with Raleigh Weight Loss Center is I have a wedding that's coming up later on this year, and I want to lose some more weight. I've already lost 42 pounds, and I've kept that weight off thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Over 15% of my body weight gone thanks to the program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And I've maintained that weight. That's one of the best things about the program is that the weight you lose, you keep it off because there's a plan for you to follow. But I have a wedding coming up later on this year. I want to lose a few more pounds, and I know exactly the way to do it thanks to the plan and program over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. You want to lose weight for anything special during the course of the year, beach season, whatever's coming up, 919-897-7506, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up that free 15-minute phone call. Results may vary.
Listen for the oh my goodness.
Sears pulls up left wing three. Ring it up. A dagger. A dagger by Sears.
They got posters.
Rebound battled for. Picked down Badunga. Rejected emphatically by Coleman Hawkins.
What in the what?
Maddox for Xavier. He'll throw a bounce pass in the lane for a two-handed jam.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Finding excuses to not do your taxes? Unsure where to start? Sounds like you may be suffering from FOMO, the fear of messing up. The cure? Filing your federal and state taxes for free using TurboTax on Credit Karma. All you have to do is start and finish filing on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Just keep in mind, this offer is available only if you didn't file with TurboTax last year. It's time to break free from your fear of messing up. Start filing for free today in the Credit Karma app.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for a Monday Soundoff, and as always, you guys have already jumped on the phone lines. We appreciate it. If you can't get through, keep trying. As we get calls, more lines will open up. So the Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for business, 919-860-5326. Call in with your sports takes that you want to sound off on. We'll start with are we highlighting that for a reason? Okay. I didn't. Oh. All right, Bob and Selma. Bob and Selma is up next. Let's just jump into it. He wants to sound off on the Canes and maybe some trade talk here. So Bob, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
What's going on, buddy? Yeah, I keep coming back to the trade deadline, and I really don't see anything that – who do we want to give up for what? Like, and who are we moving? We got a nice young core that signed long-term. We got decent wingers. I mean, we can go run the risk and try for Panarin, but then what ends up when he doesn't want to re-sign with us, and we're in the wind again like we've been with the last couple big boy trades. The center out of St. Louis just had to have a knee issue worked on. So we go give up a bunch for him, and then now we're stuck with his rehab, and you never know how a guy's coming off of a knee injury. Like, I think we just sit it out, maybe add a little bit of depth to the third and fourth lines, but I don't think we need to take any big swings at it this year. I think we just ride with what we got to the cup.
All right, Bob. I like your measured response, and I appreciate it. Call back in any time. You touched on it though. Like if we were to poll the Kane faithful, the Caniacs, and say, what do you want to trade for? Second line center or first line center around the league is going to be an option. A assassin style scorer, right? Just volume scoring, 40+ goal type guy. Perhaps a goalie would be mentioned. Who do you give up for what is a really tough answer. Without knowing the what. If it is Robert Thomas, maybe that knee procedure, whatever he had, just lowered the price a bit. But also, I would assume that just means they're saying he's going to be ready after the Olympic break. If I'm St. Louis, I'm not selling at all until I show on the ice that he's back playing well. If it's Panarin, I don't think you'd have to worry about him signing a long-term extension because if I'm not mistaken, and Max, you might know this or be able to double check it. I think he has a full no movement clause, which means he's not going anywhere he doesn't like, and probably would already have to have a extension in place, kind of agreed handshake before that move even happens.
Who's Artemi Panarin's no move?
I believe it's a full no move, and there's some reports out there that again, rumors and reporting, and who knows who's leaking what, but that kind of the agreed upon range is either 3 years, $12 million, or 4 years, $11 million per. That's a lot of money for a guy that's a bit older, but all those goals aren't going to score themselves. So we'll see. But another option, as Bob brought up, and it's completely fair, is to sit it out, right, and maybe not be super active. But I'm a big. I like teams that go for the big swing when you're in a cup window. So we'll see if they do. Let's go to next up. Jeff in Raleigh wants to sound off on some ACC hoops here on a Monday Sound Off. You can call in as well, 919-860-5326. But right now it's Jeff's turn. Jeff, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
How you guys doing today?
Doing very well. Jeff, what do you got for us?
Happy Groundhog Day, and chiming in with dude from Selma. I don't think Canes need to make a move. If it's a real good opportunity and works for them, then fine. But who are you going to kick to the curb? Their base is fine. That's
okay.
Number one, and number two is the ACC. I love that Duke, Carolina, and the Pac are all in the hunt. And I put a couple of dollars beginning of the year that on each one of them would win the NCAA tournament. So that's
where you are. All right, appreciate it.
I had faith.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Jeff, I want to talk about that. I want to respond, so we'll let you go. But appreciate the call as always. if I'm Jeff, you're probably rooting really hard for NC State in that one because it probably pays off a little bit longer. But the point he's making is accurate, right? Right now, if you look at the ACC standings, Duke has won. They're 9-0 in conference. State is tied for third with Virginia, and what is it? Carolina's coming in sixth. All of them are ranked, at least Duke and UNC are ranked. State probably on their way to it. It's good business here in the Triangle in the ACC. The phone lines are open. Heistra Automotive Group hotline for a Monday sound off, 919-860-5326. We have Luca in Chapel Hill wants to sound off on UNC. I assume it's not Luca Bogovat, but hey, Luca in Chapel Hill nonetheless. Welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, Tim, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think are 3 essential things the Heels need to do to beat Duke on Saturday?
Sorry. Say that middle part again. Things that Carolina needs to do to beat Duke?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Luca. And I'll give you my answer here. 3 things that Carolina needs to do to beat Duke. Well, first of all, I think Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar have to be exceptional, right? In those kind of games, you need your big players to play great, and they've been playing unbelievable this year. I think they need to shoot the 3 well. There's I've seen Duke at times when other teams get hot from 3 struggle. They are a very good defensive team, but if Bogovat, ironically, another Luca in Chapel Hill, and Seth Trimble and a few others, Jaron Stevenson are shooting it well, I think that can make a huge difference. Defensively, I wonder if you don't go like full. There's two strategies that come to mind, and granted, this is Duke UNC week, UNC Duke week, so we're gonna have plenty of on-ramp to talk about it, and I haven't completely dove in all the way to the analytics, but if I'm playing Duke, there's one of 2 strategies. One is almost concede Cameron Boozer's production and say, like, listen, he's gonna get his 20 and 10. Nobody else is going to get anything, or vice versa. I might go in and just say somebody other than Boozer and double team him every time he touches the ball and have my best defensive players ready to use their fouls against him and say, listen, if you're banking on him getting 20, it's going to take him 20 shots. Like, make him inefficient. But we'll see. Like, there's a bunch of different options there. Obviously, anytime those 2 teams get together, it's kind of anyone's game. So we'll see. And I reserve the right to change those answers as we get closer and I dive further into this specific matchup. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is a Monday sound off, which means we want to hear from you. So go ahead and call on in. Heistra Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. I'll say that number again in case it got lost in our horns. 919-860-5326. 26 Monday sound off. As I said, we want to hear from you on anything. Could be ACC, could be Carolina Panthers, Carolina Hurricanes, could be Super Bowl. We want to hear it all. And next up, we want to hear it from Isaiah in Wake Forest. Wants to sound off on both the Hornets and the Heels. Isaiah, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start with the Charlotte Hornets. With them, just another extremely impressive game on Saturday. They really controlled the entire game against the Spurs. They out-rebounded them 51-37, and their guards look dominant again. I'm feeling really optimistic with them, and I'm just really happy with their performance. On the Tar Heels, I was also moderately happy with their performance on Saturday. Got a win against Georgia Tech. Hopefully they can just take care of business against Syracuse tonight and not overlook this game, looking forward to Duke, but win this game and prepare for Duke. On what you said just a second ago, I believe they should go on the route of shut down Boozer and worry about everybody else if you need to. And the perimeter defense was a problem a couple of weeks ago. That can't be a problem on Saturday, because if that's a problem, Isaiah Evans is going to burn you for 30 points if he's hot. If he's hot, he's going to smoke you guys. So your perimeter defense is going to has to be really good. You're going to have to watch Boozer. If you can do that, I'm confident that we could at least give him a good game and they might get a win. I'm not going to say definitely they're going to win right now because Duke 20-1 for a reason.
Yep.
Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it. We'll start with your Hornets talk. And Max is a big Hornets fan, so maybe he'll jump in on this. That game against San Antonio is really, really fun for me, one specific reason. What was it? I saw Wembanyama finished with 8 rebounds and Diabate finished with 10. And when they stood next to each other, it looked like Wembanyama was towering over him. You just respect what the Hornets are in a really fun place right now in that there's a bunch of young guys, even like the LaMelo Balls and the Brandon Millers and the Con Knipples, guys that come in with super high pedigrees. They still want to prove themselves like as a tier above what they're considered. So it's like, it gives me like a startup business vibes where everybody's in their, early part of their career. They're just grinding. They're trying to get that initial IPO and eventually they're all going to turn into businessmen, right? Eventually they're all going to be, the older guys, the vets trying to be reasonable and all the other things. But for right now, it's just fun.
Except today's game's not as fun, although they're only down by 10 now. They were down as much, I think, as 21 in the first half, and they've cut it to 10 here early in the third quarter. So,
and LaMelo Ball and Con Knippel have combined for 30. So we'll see how it goes.
LaMelo also early in the first quarter, collided heads with Charles Lee and had to go to the locker room.
With Charles Lee?
Yeah, so there's a loose ball out of bounds, and they bumped heads. But he's back in the game. LaMelo's all right, and now they're down 10 shortly after halftime. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated on what happens there.
Coaches and coach got to get looked at by the independent neurologist. I'm kidding, but who knows? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I didn't know that. What is the phone number? 919-860-5326. Call in if you have some sports news or some sports opinion you want to share with us. Dylan in Chapel Hill has just that. Dylan, welcome to the show. Says you want to sound off on the Carolina Hurricanes. So go ahead and take the floor.
Hey, TD. Crushing it as always, my man. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
So I think that there was a lot to be learned about the Rantanen situation last year. I think that as we went and took that big swing, we were looking at sort of, the shiny toy that was out there for us to go get. And I don't know if we necessarily vetted him into wanting to play RBA's system. So my question for you is, now that I consider us a team who does want to make swings prior to the deadline, because I believe they only get about 14 games when it's right at the deadline, do you think that there's going to be a team that is willing to take a KK, a Nadeau, and maybe one or even two of those first rounders, given they're going to be in the latter half of the draft? And maybe if we eat half of KK's salary, do you think there's going to be a team that will be willing to part with a Trocheck or a Kadri or someone like that in order for us to solidify that 2C or 1C? It's a lot to ask, but I'm wondering, do you think there's going to be a team that will do that?
All right. Thank you for the call, and thank you for the kind words at the beginning. I think everybody has a price. And I think those between Kadri and Trocheck, those are two very different prices. The Canes have, it seems, okay, and don't get me wrong, because you don't know what other teams are willing to move, and you don't know what the teams that are selling crave, right? What they're asking for, what they want, whether it's players, picks, whether it's established players or projects, lottery tickets, whatever you want to say. But I do think the Canes have, amongst the contenders, one of the larger chip stacks if they want to go deal. One of the things that's happening, and I haven't checked it in a while, is like up until at least a few weeks ago, and it might still be true, like 26 of the NHL teams were above 500. It was something crazy. And because of that, I did worry if there just weren't going to be many sellers, because everybody thought they at least had a puncher's chance at making the postseason. That could be an issue. And if you look at it now, I think there's still
26 teams above NHL 500.
So I'm not saying all of them believe they're going for it, right? There's some teams that are probably above 500 and still realistic with themselves. But I don't think there's going to be a gigantic market of sellers. It's just a matter if the Canes can find one of those sellers that their needs match up with what the Canes are willing to give. It is don't get me wrong, it is a tough situation to really, really want something and have it not be out there. which I think has happened in the past for the Canes. I think they've wanted a goalie. I think they've wanted a 2C for at times. I think they've wanted the 40, 50 goal scorer at times, and they've been willing to spend, and they haven't always been there. I do want to push back on the Mikko situation is this big, cautionary tale. I know it didn't work out well, and I think that's the human element. You don't know how a guy's going to react. You don't know what you're being if what you're being told is agent speak or truth. I think you take that swing 100 times out of 100. They had a chance to get Mikko Rantanen on the Carolina Hurricanes. I think you take that shot 100 times out of 100, and if it doesn't work out, you pivot and get the best you can in return, which is what they did. Maybe more of a cautionary tale would be like Jake Gensel, right? The Jake Gensel thing would be it did work. He did play well. He played well in the postseason, and you maybe shortchanged him a little bit as those negotiations, or you slow played him as those negotiations took place, and then he bounced. And he's playing well. Who knows what that looks like if you just offered the $8 million or whatever he wanted per year, a month earlier. Maybe Gensel's here, and you don't have to worry about any of this. I don't know. But I think everything's a lesson, and I don't look at any of the moves they made and act like those are huge, dissuading factors from making a big swing again. I think you take chances, and they don't always work, but you got to be prepared to get back on the horse and take another. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for your calls, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. And next up, we have Chris in Raleigh wants to sound off on NC State. So let's go ahead and hear from Chris in Raleigh. Chris, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
I appreciate you having me on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I am a diehard NC State fan, graduated in the class of 96. And the past couple decades for this program has been just the past couple of years has been pretty dark for the program. And now with Will Wade coming on, he's bringing all these transfers in, and it's been great so far. But the way this team has been playing, when these bottom six ACC teams come to play them, we could barely get out of Pitt, we could barely get out of Boston College, and with Duke and North Carolina coming up on the schedule, how do you think these boys can pull through against these talented ACC teams?
Real quick, before we move on, I respond to your question. The past couple years, the Final Four run had to be a good time, right? You weren't downtrodden about that, were you?
No, but I was pretty excited for that.
Okay,
but
good.
Just the year after, we couldn't even make the ACC tournament, and it's just Kevin Keats. I love the guy, great coach and all, but when it came down to when it really mattered, taking away the Final Four, he couldn't really get it done for us.
All right, I appreciate it, and I'll dive into some of your question now. I just wanted to make sure, do not gloss over a Final Four run for any program. That is special as all get out.
I think and most State fans will agree, how meaningful and how great the run was, but
even if it was just the oasis in the desert and you went 40 days, 40 nights without water before and 40 days, 40 nights without water after, that drink of water still felt glorious.
That's how it was. It's unfortunate for Kevin Keats that it was followed up with a season where they missed the ACC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they're any level better than that, maybe he's still around. But, it was no secret that he was on the outs headed into that ACC tournament, and, they just pulled off one of the all-time great runs.
And to then transition to the question that was being asked, I don't know if NC State right now, and he brought up Duke and Carolina. I think those two teams are on different tiers this year. I don't know if State is ready to be a top 2 team in the ACC, but to build off of that, they weren't the year they went to the Final Four. That's the beauty of college basketball. You catch a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old waking up on a good day, and Paul McNeil could score 40. You catch reverse, one of those teams has an off day, and you can catch them. One thing I know for a fact is Will Wade is not going into any game as a second-tier citizen or as a second-tier conference member. He wants those games. And yeah, maybe they didn't play great against Georgia Tech, and they didn't. And Will Wade has voiced it, right? And in a few of these other games that, quote-unquote, you'd like to dominate, you maybe squeaked by. I think they're going to be more up for those big games than you've seen this particular roster yet. I don't think it is a surprise at all that Will Wade was talking about his quote-unquote bully neighbors in his introductory press conference. And don't get me wrong, there's talent on NC State's roster. Darian Williams was all Big 12. He was really, really good. Van Allen Lubin played at UNC a good amount and was a big part of their some of the biggest games they had last year. He was on the floor for them quite a bit. So, he can obviously play at that level. It's going to be an exciting time.
It's been a lot of growing pains, but
yeah,
there's a big game tomorrow on the road at SMU.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a very big litmus test to see how much they've developed over the course of the season.
And I've said this a few times. If they don't artificially make expectations higher and speed up their timeline with how confident, maybe brash they were, coaches and players, I think what they've done is actually kind of right on track with what you expect with a team with so much new players, transfers, new coach, new everything, right? New NIL budget, new this, new that. I'm not treating them as some kind of like, oh, there's no way team at all. And by the way, like 2 years ago, whatever it was, the Final Four run, yeah, I may have treated them as like, oh, there's no way, and then it happened. Let's go we have two more here we want to get to. Appreciate everybody that called in, and if we don't get to you, I apologize. But these two have been at least one of them has been waiting a while. We go to Reggie in Sanford, wants to sound off on both the Hornets and UNC, so we'll let Reggie do just that. Reggie, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, how's it going, Tim?
Doing well.
The Charlotte Hornets 6-game winning streak. Seems like they're clicking at the right time. Do you think at the rate they're going, they can actually squeak in as far as being a playoff?
Okay.
Get a playoff berth. And two, I know it's Georgia Tech, but to me, I thought the game at Georgia Tech was a big win because we normally stink it up, at Georgia Tech. So by us, UNC, just going there and win, I say just win.
Okay.
It was good. So only thing I want to see is more consistency.
Okay. I'm with it, and I want to respond to some of that. So thank you very much for calling in. As far as the Hornets 6-game win streak, do we have an update on the score right now, Max?
Yeah, they are down 7.
Okay, so they're chipping away.
5
against
minutes
the Pelicans
or so left here in the third quarter.
They are currently one spot out of the play-in. I definitely think – I don't know if they jump into the top 6, don't get me wrong, because that's where like a playoff team is. But play-in is more than a possibility, and you hope you're kind of up in that 7-8 range. They're playing good basketball. They're playing like it's – there's no qualifier there. It's not good basketball for the Hornets. They're just playing good basketball. And then UNC over Georgia Tech, kind of what you heard the caller talking about, it being a big win. I agree, but not because, Georgia Tech, they always play bad there or anything. I think it's good. It was a really good win because of how they won, right? They got contribution from the perimeter. Some guys knocked down some shots. The Vasar and Wilson looked like stars. Like it looked like a version that could be sustainable of UNC. It might not be the same guys on the perimeter every game, but you need a couple of them every game to make something happen, and it looked more sustainable than some other wins they've had. All right, last caller here on a Monday sound off. Robert in Raleigh wants to sound off on the NFL and NHL and maybe some broadcasting, so we'll see what it means. Robert, go ahead and sound off.
Hey, it's me. Wanting to call and say hello. Haven't talked to you since football season.
All right.
I love hearing you. I work every Saturday. I'm a radio person, not online. I'm on the radio. Love hearing you on Saturday evenings on the way home and while I'm at work. I didn't miss one of those this year. Real quick, I'm not a deep thinker on this call, but I will say one of the coolest things in football this year has been the doink actually hitting the football, hitting the goalpost during failed or made field goal. The NHL could up their game and get a better sound apparatus on that. Yeah, no, I mean, is it the coolest thing to hear that or not? They need to mic up the post, especially where the Canes. There've been a lot of post hit. And I do think you already got a good enough team for the Canes to win the Cup.
Okay.
The way Schnetznikov is playing, and you're going to need some wins from Freddie Anderson, and Anderson's playing great. And Schnetznikov just looks like a different player. Still one of the greatest plays in Canes history for me is for Schnetznikov dropping the gloves for no reason with Ovechkin. I mean, it was just like, there's no reason to do this. And if this guy gets on his game, you got a good enough team to win the Cup. Hey, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. First of all, the ring in the post sound, like putting a microphone right next to the post, would kind of be hilarious, because sometimes you hear it at the top of the arena anyway. And yeah, I guess, artificial kind of make it louder. Who knows? What was he? As far as the Canes not needing anybody, here's the way I think of, really, for all team sports. You have a window to win a championship, and that, like, say every year in the NHL there are 8 teams, 7 teams that can realistically win the Cup, and then it's just percentages, right? The best team in a dominant year might win it 37% of the time. The worst team of those 7 might win it 4% of the time. And all you're doing is trying to be in that group as many years as possible, right? If you have a Super Bowl, NBA championship, NHL, Stanley Cup window of 10 years, you want 10 years where you're in that group of 7 or 8. The next thing you worry about is bumping that percentage. There's no doubt in my mind this year, right now, as built, the Canes are in that group. They are one of the X amount of teams that can win a Cup. I think if they handle the trade deadline appropriately and they take a good big swing and maybe surprise us a little bit, whatever, they can up that percentage. But you want to do that without, shortening your window, without taking what could be a 10-year window, making it a 7-year window. You want to up your percentage and keep windows the same length. That's where you're at. There's no doubt in my mind they could win it with this team. I think the percentage is lower than if they made some well-placed moves at the deadline.
I think they need one more top 6 forward to make sure that there's a veteran presence that can make the second line a consistent threat. Because sometimes they can go on streaks. They do a little bit of line shuffling. Taylor Hall comes up, or Ehlers goes in the stall line, or they'll put Ehlers with Stankoven and Blake and switch it up. And sometimes it'll work for a little bit, but then they won't, and they'll change things up. If they had a consistent force, again, preferably a veteran player with a lot of playoff experience, and it wouldn't hurt to have a lot of physicality too. Now, it's nice to say all those things in a vacuum. Now, does that exist all in one player that's available and that fits the Canes and wants to come? Who knows? But something like that would go a long way towards taking this very great team to, this is one of the top contenders and has a chance to win. But I think they could definitely benefit from some good veteran presence on that second line. And they have Taylor Hall, but
you also have to decide the Canes don't quote unquote number their lines. With Ehlers on the stall line, is that your second line almost? And then you need to make your third line punch. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. I do think another forward, as you're saying, makes a lot of sense. Again, depending on the price and who it is. And obviously, if you can build from the middle out, that would be awesome. Because if you get the center, then you can move Stankoven into the wing, and a whole bunch of other things become possible.
I like Stankoven as the complement on the stall line. I don't think Ehlers fits in quite as well on that line. And
I like that kind of everybody has taken their turn on the stall line, because if you need to change up, pretty much anybody fits there. But there's a bunch of different options. That's kind of the beauty of this lineup now, is there is so much versatility that you can bring in a bunch of different guys and it might help you out. To round out a little Monday sound off, how about we get another caller for big game boxes with the drive? 4 times a show. This will be our second time for today, so we have 2 more coming after this. We will open up the phone lines for caller number 10, and whoever caller number 10 is gets 10 squares on our big game boxes. You've seen it, right? The grid. We're going to give each of the callers that qualify 5 squares. Then at the end of the week, we're going to go ahead and assign the numbers, and you'll know what numbers you're rooting for in the big game to be the final score. The winner, awesome prize. A signed Derek Brown football. We're talking the big man in the middle of the defense for Carolina. Derek Brown, defensive tackle, signed football, goes to the winner of our big game boxes. It's called Big Game Boxes with the Drive, ahead of the big game this weekend. So call in now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Caller number 10 gets themselves 5 randomly assigned boxes. Call now, 919-860-5326. And we'll get to a little college basketball talk when we come back after this.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick. Once again, for my good friends over at Law Tigers. I'm enjoying this snow. I know you are as well. I hope you're being safe out there on the roads. And I'm not going to lie, being cooped up at home and seeing the snow, it makes me miss getting out on the open road and riding my motorcycle. And that's something I want for you as well, especially if you're a hockey fan, especially of the team that's right here in our backyard, because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky fan a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. It's a beautiful bike. You want to see pictures of it? Go to caniacsbike.com. And when you go to caniacsbike.com, that's actually where you enter to win. caniacsbike.com. Bike will be given away live April 4th at the game, and it includes tickets to a catered suite as well. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Move your sports day forward.
The goal for the Carolina Hurricanes in the remaining games before the Olympic break, simple. Replenish those reverse Uno cards. The tilting the ice and playing catch-up from allowing early goals or silly penalties needs to stop in the third period. Put the hammer down early. And please, please, please don't let Stanky or Jarvie go a game without a single shot.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
ESPN presents the NHL Stadium Series in a most unexpected place. A hockey takeover of Tampa, Florida and Raymond James Stadium, where the Boston Bruins collide with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nikita Kucherov! Two teams take their shot at a one-of-a-kind game. The 2026 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. Bruins, Lightning, Sunday, February 1st at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, let's paint the scenario here. I need windows, but man, I don't have 3 hours to go through the process of deciding what I need, when I need it. Can you help at the Aluminum Company?
Absolutely. So, first of all, when we come out to your house to look at your windows, typical window appointment may last 45 minutes, an hour. We're certainly not going to make a 4 or 5 hour commitment to talk about windows. We're there to help.
Serve dinner last time.
Right. Listen, my wife always says, I talk to my wife all the time when we have salespeople, whatever we're doing. And my wife, I tell her all the time, I can't stand salespeople. And she laughs. She's like, you are a salesperson. I'm like, well, the difference is I'm just having a conversation trying to help people get what they want. I'm not there to pressure you. You're just there to help you get in and out. And it's a pretty quick appointment. It's pretty efficient. So we're there to help you and make it quick.
I can vouch for that. The Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online at aluminumcompany.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Just so you know, we're going to get another of our 4 qualifiers for big game boxes at the end of this segment. So stick around. If you just missed out on the last one, you got another chance coming your way to get yourself in the running for that Derek Brown signed football. But in the meantime, Duke smoked Virginia Tech by a final score. Probably closer than the final score says, 72-58. But anytime you hold the team to 58 points, it's just going to have the shock value of like, oh, wow, you must have really dominated. You must have bullied them, which is important. We'll talk like the actual game is just for lack of a better term. Like, it's another notch on their tally sheet, right? It's another win. It's in conference. It was on the road. It was a weird game with weather, right? There was supposed to be one of the snowpocalypses, and I'm sure they probably did get a bunch up there in the mountains in Blacksburg. But the long-term impact is Duke jumped Arizona to number 1 in the net rankings. Number 1 in the country in the net rankings. Arizona's still undefeated. Arizona's won some really big games. Duke, credit to them for their non-conference schedule. They've played a ton of quad 1 wins. Credit to the ACC for, even if every game they play isn't a quad 1, but there are more quad 1s, they've done a really good job of eliminating some of the quad 3s and 4s that plagued the ACC recently, right? They've done a bit more of the Big 12 thing, which is you make sure you do well enough in your non-conference schedule that by the time you get to conference schedule,
it's all quad 1, quad 2 opportunities.
You're just bouncing around off each other, so the losses aren't that bad because the team you're playing is good. The wins are huge because the team you're playing is good. And if you just kind of, rattle around like a pinball machine in the same conference, it makes it so a team like Duke can jump up to the number 1 in net rankings after conference play started. Right?
What's funny is all of Duke's non-conference games were either quad 1 or quad 4. There was no in between at all, and they only played 2 quad 3 conference games, at least as of today. There was the Georgia Tech win they already had, and their next game against Boston College tomorrow. Everything else quad 1 and quad 2, so that's 16 quad 1 and quad 2 opportunities in conference play for Duke.
I actually think if you can, it feels very like when the NBA went to all 3s and layups. And you realize like the analytics say that's best. That's probably true for quads as well. If you can get it so it's all quad 1s and 4s, that's probably the best scenario, because then the games that you could potentially lose, the quad 1s, aren't that bad because you're losing a quad 1 game, right? The good losses, quote unquote, which is ridiculous to say. But then every one of those wins is massive. And I don't think you get really rewarded that much by the committee for quad 3 wins over quad 4, right? Like, they're all seen as you better win them. So there's something to be said there if you can make it happen, right? Obviously, you don't know how games are going to, you schedule the team. You don't know how good they're going to be once the season starts. Their defense continues to be really good, right? 58 points will win you a lot of games, especially when you have certain offensive players that are pretty darn stable, which let's talk about quickly here. And I know we don't have much time, but Cam Boozer, I'm not of the variety that is screaming about, like, why is he not mentioned with Darren Peterson and DeBonsa as pro prospect? Listen, when you don't have the super-duper explosive athletic traits, sorry, you might be 3rd on the big board in the NBA. I don't think that's a knock at all. I don't know why people act insulted that you're like a top half of the lottery player. You're going to go to a team that values you. You're going to have every opportunity in the NBA. As far as college goes, he's the best college player in the country, right? As far as production goes, his floor is unbelievable, including the game against Virginia Tech. This is according to Optastat. He has recorded at least 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists in every game of his career. 21 games, 21 times he's had at least 14, at least 5, and at least 2. That is tied for the longest streak by any player, men's or women's, at any point. So not to start a career, at any point in their career, for a Division I basketball player this century. Shout out to Western Carolina's Vontarius Woolbright from a few years ago. That's who he has tied. But that's just an insane amount of stability straight from the beginning. And it just, that's why when we were talking about UNC earlier today, the caller asked me how I would you kind of attack Duke if I were UNC. I think the challenge is you either go, all right, give him his 20 and 10 and nobody else beats you, right? You kind of do that game. Or you do the reverse and you just double team, foul, do whatever you have to make Boozer not get to where he's always gotten. And then maybe the team will be confused because they've never dealt with a game that Cam Boozer played poorly. Never. That's insane. And now they're number 1 in the net ranking. So, the advanced analytics are backing them up. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As promised, let's grab another big game box entry. big game boxes with the drive. 4 times a day through Friday. So today's not the only day you can do it. 4 callers per day through Friday. Each winner, meaning each of the caller number 10s, will get 5 randomly assigned boxes in the grid, which then will be determined Friday at 6 p.m. The person with the square containing the correct pair of numbers at the end of the big game will win a prize. That prize is pretty awesome. It's a signed football from the hands of defensive tackle Derek Brown. He is one of the best defensive tackles in the world. And that's not an exaggeration. So we have that autographed football going to somebody that will win it through our big game boxes competition. Caller number 10 will be the latest to get 5 squares randomly assigned to them. So call in now, 919-860-5326. It could be the call that gets you a defensive tackle Derek Brown signed football. Again, call in now, 919-860-5326. Max will get you sorted out. So call in now. Starting 5 up next.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here once again for my good friends over at Law Tigers. I know a lot of us are going to be just sitting inside, enjoying the snow this weekend, having some fun, eating all the snacks, maybe go sledding, doing all those kinds of things. But one thing I can't wait to do when this weather warms up, it's hop back on the motorcycle and ride once again. But also celebrating my favorite hockey team in the process, and I want you all to do that as well. Go to caniacsbike.com and enter for your chance to win a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. That's right. The Law Tigers are teaming up once again with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. Bike will be given away on the ice April 4th, live at the game, and includes tickets in a catered suite. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan.
And me, Chris Lee from WRAL-TV.
We're in the offseason, but our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Wake Orthopedics, rolls on.
In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as the NFL Draft approaches.
Insights on free agents and prospects.
Plus all the insider info on who the Panthers want to pick at number 19.
Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Looking for the ultimate big game play? Come catch all the action at the Dugout Tavern and Grill in Apex. We've got a massive 16-foot surround sound video wall so you can watch every play and the famous ads in all their glory. During the big game, the Dugout is serving buy one, get one half off appetizers and $15 Sweetwater buckets all day. Come back Fat Tuesday to watch the big college rivalry basketball game with the Dugout and cheer on the athletes in Italy with $6 Peroni Euro Lager during the winter games. Catch all the games at the Dugout Tavern and Grill on Kelly Road in Apex.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Soundstation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know Soundstation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Soundstation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. Mostly clear to partly cloudy tonight. What melted will refreeze tonight. Watch for icy spots, 22 the low. Tomorrow, rapidly increasing clouds becoming overcast. It's milder, the high temperature 46.
5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones finishes up 515 points to 49,407. This hour of The Drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump into the starting five and have our fun with the latest news, we have even more late-breaking news, and that just being an update on the Hornets game. Max, you want to go back and listen to all your melancholy talking about the Hornets earlier today and maybe apologize since they're now leading 85-82?
I don't think it's melancholy. I mean, they weren't playing very well at the start of the game, and now they're winning.
Seemed like ye of little faith.
I never said they were going to lose the game. I don't remember saying that at all.
I think your tone may have indicated your lack of confidence. Either way, 8 minutes and change left. They're up by 3. Opened the fourth on a 7-0 run. It's a good start. With that being said, let's jump into the starting five, which is brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com. That's RICCI Law.com. And as always, the starting five starts with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Taken away by Panarin. He moves to the net. He scores! Artemi Panarin with a beauty.
The NHL's rosters will freeze for the Olympics. This is, Wednesday? That is February 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And they will remain frozen, meaning no trades, nothing can happen on the rosters, until February 22nd at 11:59 Eastern time. So that's a nice little stretch. There was a point in time where I thought there would be a flurry of moves maybe like happening now, right? Trying to get moves done so you can look at your roster and plan everything over the break, and you can figure all that out. I am going away from that a little bit for the simple reason of I don't know if there's enough bad teams now, and you might need a handful of games after the Olympic freeze in order for teams to make their last gasp effort to see if they're contenders or not, right? When you come to a deadline, the deadlines where you have the most fervored frenzies of trades are when there is a very obvious group of haves and have-nots, and there's a bunch in each. This year, it seems like there's a whole bunch of perhaps haves, and then a small group of, they have nots. And that,
a lot of have-a-littles.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I might have some things, and I want to make sure I don't have anything before I start trading away. And if you're if you're the Rangers, right, and you've already kind of made the decision that you're going to sell, at least it appears so. I don't know if the buyers are out there quite as much yet because all of those have-a-littles, they're not all in either, right? They're not all in, they're not all out, and that just cloudies up everything. So I think that if there's a big frenzy of trades, it'll likely be closer to the actual trade deadline. But still, February 4th, 3 p.m. is the last time for, weeks that you can make a trade. So there's still the potential there that there's some movement. Obviously, the Canes are going to be involved in every discussion because that's just what they do. They're in the mix. Elliot Friedman on Sportsnet. Let's go to the where things stand on Robert Thomas conversation.
Robert Thomas, St. Louis.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about Robert Thomas and his future in St. Louis, and one thing that's happened was he had surgery earlier this week to a small cleanup procedure, so he's going to be out of the lineup until just after the Olympics, so that might slow down any conversations there. I will say this, that a bunch of teams who kind of talked about it said there's not very many people in the league who can do what St. Louis might want to do here, but thankfully it's not serious. It won't cost them the rest of the season, but Thomas is out until post-All-Star. The Blues, I think, have 2 games left. One other thing about injuries, I did hear this today, Ron, is that, all the Olympic teams who have players who are kind of on the injury bubble, they're calling these players and they're saying, we want an honest answer about where you are so we can figure out what we might have to do.
That's gonna put a hold on the trade market even further. Robert Thomas, if he truly is available, and I've heard different reports have been like, oh yeah, they'd move him to, well, if they get their socks absolutely blown off with a Godfather offer, then maybe. But that's going to be a big domino, right? So I don't know if people are settling for their next options until they know about Robert Thomas. And now that he's dealing with an injury, you're not going to have that until at least after the Olympic break. So again, we were excited for the fireworks. I'm not sure if they're going to be there pre-Olympics.
He's probably the center that, if he is on the market, is probably like the best option that is quote unquote available. Again, like his availability,
depending on the price, but yes.
All we hear about is speculation, but the price would probably be the highest for him, and he would probably be the most desired, because when you're talking about centers, like, he's probably more of a first liner than a second liner. So teams that are looking just to add, like, that's a massive, massive piece to be able to add to your top 6, and we'll see if he goes anywhere. St. Louis is, everybody in the West is bad, right? So it's not like they're like light years off, but they're pretty far out at this point. Like, they're probably not going to be making it to the postseason. So we'll see if they're willing to kind of restructure things and go for some futures, or if they're going to try to hold on and keep on trucking. That's kind of the same thing that happened with Nashville, right? Like, they started super bad this year. Now they're kind of in the hunt.
Yep.
Although now their GM is stepping down, so who knows what that will entail as they head towards the trade deadline. But gosh, Bob Thomas, that'd be a nice pickup. Really nice.
I mean, as recently as last year, he was a 1.16 point per game player. Like, that's big production. But
I'm pretty sure he played for Team Canada at 4 Nations last year.
But again, with all of the reasons we're excited, St. Louis knows they aren't selling him for cheap, and you definitely aren't giving up the price they want if you're not sure how his knee is. So it puts a pause on a lot of the really big moves. It's like, well, we want to see if we can get Robert Thomas before we move to I would assume. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
McNeil Jr., 2 seconds on the shot clock. 1. Presto.
Just because you know don't mean you can stop it.
What a line. NC State beat Wake Forest 96-78 over the weekend. I think it was obvious Will Wade's, I don't want to say mind games, but they kept their edge versus Wake. We talked about it on Friday. Will Wade was, I think, deliberately not super praisey publicly of his team because he recognized, they've underperformed in some games where they were the much better team this year. So going into the Wake game, it felt like he was deliberately and intentionally reminding his team in very public ways that they are not the 01 Lakers. You know what I mean? They're not Shaq and Kobe at their peak, right?
They're not the January 2026 Charlotte Hornets.
There you go. They aren't the 96 Bulls. They aren't the 01 Lakers. They aren't the January 2026 Hornets. things like making them run after the Syracuse game for not hitting certain team goals, despite the fact that they won by 20. For things like when the media brought up that they're 6-2 in the ACC, Will Wade lamented that they weren't 7-1 because the Georgia Tech loss was such a bad one, and they go into Wake Forest on edge, and they played really well. And I want to give a little side hat tip to the NC State shooters. Now, they are among the best shooters in the ACC, right? Their three-point percentage might be at the top. I know it was recently. I haven't checked after the most recent round of games. But let's look at their last two games, shall we? Darian Williams shot 5 of 9 and 5 of 8 from 3. So he's been good regardless. Let's remove those two. So take out Darian Williams. Against Syracuse, they went 2 of 15. Again, non-Darian Williams shooters for State. 2 of 15, that's about 13%. Against Wake Forest, even if you take out the 5 for 8 from Williams, they shot 11 of 20 from 3 versus Wake Forest. It's 55%. That's a good bounce-back game. That's going to get your averages back up where they were even after a rough shooting game. There is a hint of live by the 3, die by the 3, except they should have died by the 3 against Syracuse by that logic, and they won by 20. So they have other options, at least against a team like Syracuse, which, let's be real, not exactly the top of the ACC.
Yeah, the offense looks good when the shots are falling. They are still first in the ACC in three-point percentage by a decent margin as well, 39.9%. So just a hair off 40% as a team, which is quite impressive. The next closest team is Cal at 36.8, and they are also third in terms of points per game, 85.9. Going to be a lot of points tomorrow night. More than likely in Dallas, because SMU is the top scoring team in the ACC at 86.6 points per game. So for the bettors, maybe take the over, or maybe
I'm
the line
sure it's set high.
The line will be inflated, so maybe take the under, buck the trend. I don't know.
Yeah, got to know what the analytics say, but I assume that number will be very high. That was, what number was that? What were we on? 2, 4. That was 4. Let's get to number 3.
Jumps out it, rebounded by Evans. He'll lob it. Oh! Caleb Wilson.
UNC plays tonight, by the way, against that very same Syracuse team. We're going to close out the show talking about that. So we're not ignoring tonight's game. About 5:45, we'll dive into that one. But for now, number 3 is UNC beat Georgia Tech, and Caleb. I mean, you heard it right there. Caleb Wilson, athletically, pretty bananas. Length, I still think he's and this is not a insult, but he's a bit baby-faced in that I think he's going to fill out more. I think he's going to get stronger.
I think even jump higher, which is crazy because in the highlight of that clip that you just heard, I mean, I'm pretty sure that lob is up like at the top of the backboard. He just reaches up and slams it down.
There are some pictures that caught him at the peak of his jump from I assume the photographer's like seated or kneeling angle, and he looks like he is way the heck up there. So that is something that they can lean on at all points in time. He's become exceptionally consistent. He has been, I believe, an appropriate amount of selfish in that he doesn't let himself get. There were a few times early in the year where they would go 15 minutes of real time, and Caleb Wilson really wouldn't be involved, or his usage wouldn't be there. It should never happen. And he's done a much better job at being assertive and getting the ball, and his teammates have been finding him. All good. Speaking of bounce back, right? We just did that big bounce back conversation about the state shooters. How about Henry Vasar? Last 2 games at Virginia, which his team won, right? They picked him up, kind of more of an all-round game. He had 7 points and 1 rebound. That is a massive outlier to what his season has been. Some foul trouble, but still played a decent amount of minutes. They obviously neutralized him in a way that he hadn't really been neutralized this year. Did that mess with him? Did he lose his confidence? Did he get shaken? Well, he bounced back against Georgia Tech with a 20-12. That's a pretty good bounce back. That's a very definitive statement on, nope, that was an outlier. That is nothing that we have to worry about. I'll be A-okay. 20-12 from Vasar is huge, especially when you get 22 from Wilson. If those two are on their game, it's 35 is just kind of where you start counting.
Yeah, I need to get into the research and see how many combined 20-point double-doubles they have this year, because it's got to be – it's a lot. It's got to be at least 10, maybe 15 or 20.
Or just look where it's like they combined have 40 and 20. Because there's a decent amount of games where it's like 22 and 9, and the other has 20 and 13, and like I count that. Those two guys are really, really good. And in that game against Georgia Tech, Seth Trimble had 18. Bogovac scored 16 off the bench. There it is. Like, that's the formula. You get great play from your two bigs, and whether it's Derek Dixon, Trimble, Jaron Stevenson, Bogovac, like 1.5 of those guys have to live up and score, do the things you need to do to support Wilson and Vasar when they're going, right? Obviously, if one of them has an off day, you got to pick it up in other places. But, there was a stretch there where I was very, very worried about UNC. With every game that they go, I'm kind of exhaling a bit as far as them being back at the top, in that top tier of the ACC.
They're better in the games where they don't have to go out west. Lost in Dallas, lost both games in California. They just need to keep it on the East Coast.
Yeah. They need a little help from the eventual committee to put them in one of the regions that don't go out there. Perhaps. You don't think we're anywhere near an ACC tournament going west, do you?
No. Goodness, no. I certainly hope not. The fact that it's anywhere but Greensboro is still a travesty.
I get the feeling of like Stanford lobbying. Why do we always have to travel? And it's just, I hope not. What number was that? 3? I think it was 3. Yeah. Nope. Yep. 3. Let's get to 2.
Just the two of us.
Duke closing in on their 20th win of the season. Foster, here's Boozer. Got it! That felt like the dagger.
Duke beat Virginia Tech 72-58 over the weekend. Good win. They jumped Arizona to number 1 in the net rankings. I keep joking like Duke can't be overlooked, right? The Duke fans that are, we're being disrespected. I don't think so. But the one thing I would say is most of the advanced analytics do have them a spot or two higher than like the polls. Maybe. I don't know if you can be disrespected at like 4th or 3rd, but maybe. The other thing I would say is this. Well, actually, let me break it down based on a conversation we had during Monday's Soundoff. And shout out to everybody that called in. But there was this conversation we kind of stumbled upon with some callers and a few weighed in on there's obviously Duke UNC coming up this weekend, UNC Duke. Where's that game going to be? Do we know which off the top of your head?
For sure it's at Smith Center this weekend.
Okay. So Duke at UNC this weekend. And one of the questions was like, how does UNC beat Duke? And I think you go one of two ways on defense. Either you do like the Jerry Rice is going to get his 120 and a touchdown. Nobody else is catching a pass, right? Where you go, all right, Boozer's getting his 20 and 10. Nobody else is going to get open. Or you do the reverse, right? You go, Jerry Rice, I'm putting our best corner and a safety over the top. He's not beating us, and somebody else is going to have to catch passes, in which case you would, double team Boozer, use your fouls, put your best guys on him, and make someone else be the driving force. Talk about Cameron Boozer, obviously. There you go. Part of the question then becomes, is Duke comfortable looking like an Isaiah Evans and saying, listen, we need 20 plus, right? If they're going to pack it in and they're going to stop Boozer and they're not going to let him be the strength of this team, he's going to kick it out. Who's the one that's going to make them pay, right? Who's the one that's going to hit 4 threes in the first half and make them change their strategy? And Isaiah Evans has been that guy this year. He's the one that's been asked to be that guy this year. I think he has all that ability. I was very excited about the flashes he showed last year. And, on Saturday at the Dean Dome would be, you know what that game does. You have a huge game that levels you up in ways that, the public consciousness becomes very interested in. But both teams, UNC tonight, Syracuse, Duke tomorrow, Boston College, both teams have to get through another ACC game before they look towards that one. Matter of fact, both could be described as trap games. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1. Yeah.
The one!
There we go.
Aho with it. Carolina in. Aho drives. Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime! And what a relief for the Canes to come up big as Aho knocks it home.
Shout out to Mike Maniscalco for the call there. And shout out to him for ruining every time I read the word overtime. I'll be sitting there just at my desk reading an article, be like, the NFL game against the Ravens the Rams and the Seahawks went to overtime. It's just how it goes in my brain. For more on that overtime, I can't even do it well. That win for the Canes yesterday. Here's 2 minutes of gold, although sitting in for Adam Gold today is Dennis Cox.
2 minutes for 2 more points scored on a Sunday afternoon where there are only about 2 inches of snow on the ground. Dennis Cox in for Adam Gold here with 2 minutes of gold, brought to you by Parkway Sleep Health Centers. And yesterday in the Lenovo Center against the LA Kings, they came into town and, well, it was the old King captain himself for the Carolina Hurricanes that made it 1-0 on the power play.
Stahl with a clean win. Gostisbehere moves it quickly. Right out in front. They score! The captain in the garden spot with the deflection. And a power play goal has Carolina up 1-0.
Carolina had plenty of chances, but unfortunately weren't able to capitalize. But there was one guy that has been reliable for this team since the start of the year, and that's Brandon Bussey.
Now Armia takes a feed from Doughty. Back across, shot right up. Bussey makes the save on Moore.
That's his second quality stop. He's leading the league, it seems like, with big saves in high danger slot opportunities, and Bussey has made 2 good ones here early in the first 5 minutes.
Even though the chances really weren't abound for the LA Kings, just 13 shots on goal as a whole for the LA Kings yesterday, Brandon Bussey was there when you needed him to make the save once again.
Kempe, he tries the short side and goes off the side of the net. Picked up here by LaFerriere. Out in front, Kempe, Bussey with the save.
Things were tight checking throughout most of the game, but the Carolina Hurricanes finally able to pounce on an opportunity as a rebound popped out to the big Russian, Alexander Nikishin, and he buries his 7th of the year.
Backhand chance, Blake, puck still loose. Blake settling it, making a play, working out in front. Knocked away Nikishin, he scores! Alexander Nikishin with the loose change, and he lets it fly. And Carolina has that 2-0 lead.
Now, Carolina was not able to hold their lead. After Nikishin scores, a turnover by the Hurricanes' fourth line, all of a sudden it's right in the back of the net, and it's 2-1 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. And not too far after that in the third period, LA Kings, they strike once again. Quentin Byfield right there on the back post. A puck was able to find its way through Logan Stankoven and Keandre Miller, and Quentin Byfield able to tap it in. All of a sudden, it's 2-2, and we're headed into overtime. But who shines in overtime? None other than Sebastian Aho himself.
Aho with it. Carolina in. Aho drives. Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime! And what a relief for the Canes to come up big as Aho knocks it home.
Sebastian Aho, since 3-on-3 overtime began in the 2015-2016 season, he has 18 overtime goals. 18! That is second in the NHL, only behind Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. That's it. Sebastian Aho, in overtime, it's almost automatic at this point. Almost as automatic as a great night of sleep that you could possibly get when you visit ParkwaySleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers, sound sleep, sound health, sound the bells for 2 more points on a snowy afternoon.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, Sebastian Aho, absolute killer in overtime, especially 3-on-3. He's so good in space. He feels more aggressive in space. It does make it even more frustrating when they have like a bad power play and he's out there because it's going like, there's more space there than 5-on-5. You're good in space. Go do something with it. But obviously 3-on-3 is a whole different beast. And it's good to have him on your team when you do head to overtime. And since everybody gets so mad about shootout selections, just end it in overtime, please, so I don't have to have those conversations the next day on who Rod should have picked and why was that guy out there and all those other things. Just end it. Finish it. Make it quick. Before we move on, Max, update us on the Charlotte Hornets.
They're up 99-90 with 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining in regulation.
All right, looking like the odds are in their favor on this one. I will give you one more check here, or one more opportunity. Do you want to go nuts on Alcaraz and say how awesome he is, since you were our tennis guy on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it was a great final. The problem is I was barely half awake trying to watch it. Like, I tried to get myself up. With it being in Australia and being at 3:30 in the morning, like, there's only so much I can do. I turned it on, but then I fell asleep. So I was like kind of half walking through, and then I have a memory of looking up because Alcaraz just won, and then I was like, all right, I'm going back to sleep and turning it off. But he is incredible. I mean, there's 9 straight Grand Slams with Alcaraz or Sinner winning the title. I think the record for it to just be 2 players winning consecutive slams is like 11. So if they sweep this year, that'll be a new record just for those top 2. So, I mean, they're just so much clearly better than everybody right now. And big credit to Djokovic, because he's at this point, he is like the greatest of all time. And just to get to that final, he kind of had an easy path until he had to run into Sinner, and then he takes down one of the best hardcourt players in the game right now. I mean, it's just amazing. It had a little bit of like a 2019 Tiger like Masters flair to it. Of course, he didn't win, but he was close. He won the first set too, and then that's kind of when part of what I remember from that early morning, being half asleep. Like, wow, he won the first set like 6-2, and I was like, wow, maybe he's about to have a legacy run here. But Alcaraz snuffed it out and gets a career Grand Slam at the ripe old age of 23, 22.
I'm going to respectfully step away from this conversation, invoking 2019 Tiger at the Masters, and say congratulations to Alcaraz. And we'll move on. Let's go ahead and jump into the numbers game. We need some numbers game contestants, and we'll get those as soon as I tell you about Maynard Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. I know that the weather didn't hit us the way that many thought it would the last week and a half, but just the thought of losing something like electricity, of your cooling system, your heating system, your plumbing, your electrical going down, being not ready for you, made everybody nervous, right? That's why there was a run to grocery stores and why everybody was getting firewood and everybody was preparing. Well, guess what? One of the ways you can prepare to make sure that doesn't happen to you regardless of the weather is calling up Maynard Service Company. Or even more so if it does happen to you, right? Your heating system breaks, your electrical system goes down, whatever it is. You want to have the number ready so you're not without power, you're not without heat, cooling during the summer, plumbing, whatever it is for very long. What you want to do is take down this number for Maynard Service Company. They're out in our community. I see their trucks around all the time. I bet you do as well. So be ready. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, all across Wake County and 50 miles in any direction. And Wake County's pretty darn big. So go ahead and give them a call. 919-361-0993. At least bookmark the number for those emergency situations. 919-361-0993. Or visit them online, MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. Now, we do have the numbers game, so we need some numbers game contestants. But before that, I'll tell you about the prize. It is a 4-pack of tickets to see Monster Jam at the Lenovo Center on February 21st. 4-pack of tickets to see Monster Jam at the Lenovo Center on February 21st goes to the winner of the numbers game. We need 2 contestants to call in now. So call in 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
Hey, it's Adam Golden. As the Carolina Hurricanes shoot for their 8th consecutive playoff appearance. That's right, 8 in a row. That's not the goal, I should remind you. The goal is being, as Rod Brindamore likes to say, the last team standing. What do they need? Who will get them there? You know where you can find the answers on every episode of the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube after games, and wherever you get your podcast. Rate, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends.
Now, let's take a short break from our 8-hour ode to the oboe for a word from our sponsor, Mr. First Tuesday. Get your scratch-offs on the very first Tuesday. Looks like we've got a caller on the line.
How are you not more excited about new scratch-offs? There's millions in prizes.
Who is this?
Oh, this is Mr. First Tuesday. And by the way, it goes, get your scratch-offs on the very first Tuesday.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
When sleep isn't working, everything feels harder. Your health, your patience, your focus, even your relationships. I'm Megan Giggling with Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Too often, people are told to wait months or even years just to talk to a sleep specialist. But untreated sleep problems don't wait. At Parkway, care begins within weeks with home sleep studies and fast, coordinated support so people can move forward instead of staying stuck. Better sleep changes everything.
Parkway Sleep, your fastest path to better sleep. Start today at parkwaysleep.com. Sound sleep, sound health.
It's the playoffs, and honestly, your living room isn't ready for this. Your couch doesn't have award-winning wings, your fridge doesn't have 30 beers on tap, and your TV, oh, it's outnumbered. Carolina Ale House has wall-to-wall TVs. We've got homemade favorites, ice-cold beer, and enough screens to catch every game at once. So grab your crew, bring your appetite, and yell at the TV like a professional. Don't fumble your game day plans. Watch the playoffs at Carolina Ale House, where great sports deserve great food. Ale, yeah.
Experience the heat with a hot spring hot tub or Tilo sauna from Atlantic Spas and Billiards. Too much inventory means big savings and a big selection from the largest hot tub and sauna store in the Triangle. Our newly remodeled showroom at 8721 Glenwood Avenue celebrates our 39th year with indoor and outdoor saunas, hot tubs, and outdoor gaming. Our billiard side is stocked full of pool tables, foosball, darts, table tennis, and more. Come in now for the largest savings and availability. Atlantic Spas and Billiards, 8721 Glenwood Avenue, Raleigh.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. Today's prize, a 4-pack of tickets to see Monster Jam at the Lenovo Center on February 21st. My son would be jacked up to win this prize. And maybe there's someone in your life that would be jacked up to win this prize as well. The contestants for today, James in Morrisville and Thomas in Princeton. We'll bring each of them onto the show individually, ask them the same question. Max will be the judge. He'll pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. We'll start with James. James in Morrisville, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right, perfect. It is a Monday, which means we just wrapped up a weekend. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, make sure it somehow relates to sports.
It's going to have to be my Blue Devils getting that win against Virginia Tech. Got a little dicey there at the end, but they pulled it out.
All right. Blue Devils beating Virginia Tech. Max, any follow-ups? Nope, we are good to go. Thomas in Princeton, you're next up to the question. Are you ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
All right, same question to you. It is a Monday, which means we just wrapped up a weekend. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, make sure it relates to sports somehow.
It's got to be the Aho overtime winner last night.
Aho OT winner. All right. This is not an easy decision here for you, Max. Do you have Duke beating Virginia Tech? That was on the road on Saturday, or Aho overtime game winner on Sunday?
No, I'm a sucker for an Aho overtime winner.
Hey.
One of the all-time overtime greats in the NHL. I believe 7th or 8th all-time in overtime game-winning goals now. So we'll have Thomas go first.
Second since they've gone to 3-on-3. Tied for second since they've gone to 3-on-3 behind only Draisaitl. So Thomas goes first. James, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a second. Thomas, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right. The categories for you to choose from are NFL players, Panthers throughout history, NFL players with only 8 letters in their full name. That's first and last name combined. NBA players that are currently in the NBA and have late January birthdays, or NHL players, Hurricanes throughout history.
Let's do the Panthers.
All right, NFL players, Panthers throughout history. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, 1 pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, to keep it fair with the other categories, timing-wise. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. D'Angelo Williams, Carolina Panthers.
34.
Correct. Thomas Davis, Carolina Panthers.
52.
Incorrect. Brandon LaFell, Carolina Panthers.
17.
Incorrect. Thomas Davis, Carolina Panthers.
56.
Incorrect. Brandon LaFell, Carolina Panthers.
19.
Incorrect. Thomas Davis, Carolina Panthers.
54.
Incorrect. Brandon LaFell, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Derek Anderson, Carolina Panthers.
14.
Incorrect. Thomas Davis, Carolina Panthers.
55.
You want to give it one more try in the 50s? You want to give it one more try?
51.
Nope. 58 is the number people were yelling at their radio. But you did get D'Angelo Williams with 34. Thomas Davis, we also would have accepted 47 in addition to 58. I don't remember him in the 47, but apparently he's worn it. Brandon LaFell, 11, so 17. I could see visually how you went there. And Derek Anderson, number 3. You did get the one, though. You avoided the shutout, so we'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stay on the line.
Thank you.
That brings us to Thomas. Thomas, can you hear me?
It's James.
Oh, sorry, James. I went in the reverse order. James, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right.
Oh, yes. Yep.
The categories are NFL players with only 8 letters in their full name, NBA players with current that are in the NBA currently but have late January birthdays, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
Let me do the NFL players with 8 letters.
All right. These are players that have 8 letters in their first and last names combined. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need at least 2 for the victory. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Joe Mixon, Houston Texans.
28.
Correct. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
12.
Correct. Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons.
3.
Incorrect. Tim Brown, Los Angeles Raiders.
Pass.
Jim Kelly, Buffalo Bills.
12.
Correct. Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons.
Ryan was, 2.
Correct.
2.
Tim Brown, Los Angeles Raiders.
47.
Incorrect. Tim Brown, Los Angeles Raiders.
32.
I'm not saying this to make fun of you. You have no clue who Tim Brown is, do you?
I do, but I don't know. I don't know the position or anything like that. I know he's a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, true. Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner, that whole deal. Wide receiver, though, 81 is what we were looking for. You did get 4 out of 5, though. That was a solid showing. Just I was rooting for you for the perfect score. But congratulations, you get the Monster Jam tickets.
Thank you.
There you go.
I was just thinking. I was thinking of Jim Brown. The whole time I was thinking.
Well, yeah, that one they're a little different. Tim Brown was like playing into the 2000s. But either way, again, like I said, 4 out of 5 solid showing. Stay on the line. Max will make sure you get your prize. All right, there you go. Tim Brown, Jim Brown. I could see it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, some things are like that, right? Tim Brown, Jim Brown, Joe Brown. Yeah, I could see it, right? Charlie Brown. It's close. You know what's not that way at all? Mortgage rates, right? Like 6, 7.5, 5.4. What is it, right? It's all no. Huge differences, right? And that's why people get so nervous when they're signing up for their mortgage, and that's why they should call Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. The difference between a 6.6% interest rate and a 7.3 is enough to call Miller Lending and try to get that lower monthly rate. Right? One of the things they offer is a no-cost loan. That's no closing cost, all this hidden surcharges, hidden fees, just nope. 0 means 0 at Miller Lending. And what that means is if rates drop seemingly a small amount, call them up, refinance, get that lower monthly payment, and do that as many times as you need to, right? If you locked in your mortgage at the height of the market with 2.5 years ago, whatever it was, and it's somewhere up near 8, call Miller Lending, right? Get that lower monthly payment and get the no-cost refi, and if it drops again in 6 months, do it again. And if it drops again in 6 months, do it again. Be excited. Don't be bummed that you locked in your mortgage and you spent those closing costs, and now you want to refi, but you don't want to have wasted those closing costs. Miller Lending. Miller Lending. Miller Lending. The phone number to call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Just ask questions. Say, hey, I heard from Tim on 99.9 The Fan about your no-cost loan. Tell me more. I have these questions. They would love to explain it to you, and locally owned, right? Talking to someone locally. When you call Miller Lending, they're in Cary. That 919 number goes right to someone in the 919. That's not just some office trick. Or you can visit them online as well if you like learning your information that way. MillerLending.com. That's MillerLending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, UNC-Syracuse tonight, men's basketball. Trap game? ? Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
Folks, Brandon Bussey just might be the guy. The performance against Buffalo, the consistency of performance, the fact that in his 22 starts, 13 times, he has allowed 2 or fewer goals. Do you know what Carolina's record is when the goalie allows 2 or fewer goals? They are 18-1. That says it all.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. Like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Sparkle Smash, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Lenovo Center, February 21st and February 22nd. Brought to you by BKD Tires. Visit monsterjam.com.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
Hey, folks. Dennis Cox here from 99.9 The Fan from my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I've talked a lot about the journey that I've been on with Raleigh Weight Loss Center, and I've lost over 40 pounds, 42 pounds to be exact, thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And the thing I appreciate about the program with Raleigh Weight Loss Center is the fact that there's an open line of communication with the people that work there. If you got questions during the process, if you have concerns, maybe things aren't going the way you expect, you have an open line of communication. It's not just, here's a program, follow it, we'll send you on your way. You can actually directly talk with these people, and you have follow-up appointments during the entire process in that weight loss journey. That's why you got to give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. Again, free 15-minute phone call. You got questions, you got concerns, maybe any health issues you want to bring to the table. Have all those questions answered thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. 919-897-7506 or RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Bit of housekeeping here. There will be no overdrive today because as soon as this show is over, we're turning things over to a pretty big rivalry in the women's basketball game. NC State Number 25 in the country, Carolina, will be tipping off at 6 p.m. So State Carolina rivalry, 6 p.m. tip-off right here on 99.9 The Fan.
It's the Play for K game at Reynolds Coliseum as well. So
very true.
It's going to be filled to the brim with pink, and it's a tough environment to play in if you're an opposing team, especially one that finds that to be a small gym, I believe, is what the coach said a couple of years ago. So should be a fun game, good rivalry environment, and yeah, we got live coverage right here, and that's not the only live game we've got tonight as well.
Yep, we also have a top 15 matchup on the men's side at 9 p.m. Number 11, Kansas, taking on number 13, Texas Tech. That'll be right here on 99.9 The Fan as well. For that game, I don't know what to believe about Darren Peterson in Kansas. He's playing great when he's on the floor. There's a lot of chatter, okay? I think that's – so nothing confirmed about – his role as far as his agent's role and maybe shutting him down in certain games and, he's cramping again with air quotes. He's the presumed number 1 overall pick, and it is fascinating. Like, if you're into conspiracy theories, if you think, like, birds aren't real, they're all satellites, then go read some message boards around Kansas basketball.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I saw something today. It's like the Moneyball meme. It's like, this is Darren Peterson. He's an all-world athlete and a number 1 generational prospect. The only problem is he doesn't like playing basketball.
I don't know if I don't think anyone's accusing him of not liking playing college basketball or playing basketball.
No, obviously it's tongue-in-cheek.
I know, but what I've heard is he's like wildly, and his team, and this is, again, just chatter. I have no confirmation on any of it, wildly protective of his NBA draft status and will not. The college sports for years have been, whether true or not, been forced to us as like, lay your body on the line for your teammates. You're playing for your family, your brothers on the team. This is not that. This is, hey, I'm going to help you as far as I can help myself. Again, chatter. But either way, that game right here, 9 p.m. Tune in early to make sure you hear Darren Peterson. Who knows if he'll finish. Number 11, Kansas. Number 13, Texas Tech. Texas Tech, how much do they miss Darian Williams? We'll find out. Tune in tonight. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's look towards a game that's a bit more local than Kansas, Texas Tech. UNC taking on Syracuse tonight, men's basketball. This, it's I don't even know how many games it's been. 3-4 games since UNC was kind of the at the oh-no portion of their schedule. How different it can feel in just a couple of games, just a handful of games, a few games of things building. But now you have Syracuse tonight at 7 p.m. Keep building, right? Keep finding that perimeter effectiveness. I talked about it earlier, but Seth Trimble, Luka Bogovic, Derek Dixon, Jaren Stevenson, I think you need, if the big guys are doing what they should, if Vasar and Wilson are doing what they should, and they're very good and they do it pretty darn consistently, then out of those 4 perimeter guys I mentioned, I think you need 1.5 of them to score, right? I think you need 1 to go get you 17, 18, 1 to get you 10, and everybody else just get in where you fit in, don't get in the way. If that happens, I think they can run with most teams in the country. And obviously, the more the merrier, right? If 3 of them are scoring a bunch, you can take some weight off of the big guys. But I don't know if you want to even, experiment with that. I want the pressure on Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar. I want those guys to feel like the world is on their shoulders because they're strong enough to shoulder it. I want to ask less of the perimeter, but as you learned earlier, you can't get by asking them nothing. And then on the defensive side, it's a communication thing. They've been better as of late, but outside of Virginia, they also haven't played any kind of murderer's row. It's a communication thing. It is a alignment assignment. It is a effort thing, and that's not coming from me. That's coming from all the UNC former players that were very, very much sky is falling after a 4-game stretch. But now, like, the arrow's pointed up. And what you don't want to have happen is to have Syracuse on a Monday night. You played well over the weekend. You got Duke coming up on Saturday. And let this one bite you in the ankles, right? This is one where take care of business, business-like. Like bring us I don't know when this stopped being a thing, but there was a time, probably pre-social media, when they would just get roasted for it. But there was a time when you would see like professional teams, like certain games, they'd show up like in business attire. They'd wear the suits because we're going on a business trip.
Or if they did like the all black because it's the other team's funeral.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying you do that, but treat this one like a business trip, right? You're not there to you're not there to show them around. You're not there to make friends. You're there to open shut, take care of business, end the game. Then you can start looking towards a big rivalry game and a game that would be, for the rankings and for the net rankings and everything, just a massive, opportunity for you. But Syracuse is kind of the exact opposite, and that's the issue. You beat Syracuse by a bunch, right? Like, who cares? No, there's no bracketologist out there going, well, right now I have UNC as a 5 seed, but if they beat Syracuse, I'm going to bump them up to a 3. Like, it just doesn't exist that way. And because of that, you're probably like, all right, we'll win this one, and then we'll really get to our opportunity, and you can't be there. Especially because, there were questions about how much effort and how much lock-in you had prior to the Notre Dame game, whatever that was, 3 games ago. So, keep that edge. Keep whatever, the Theo Pinson, the Tyler Hansbrough, the Raymond Feltons, whatever they said on their former player podcast. What was it? Joel Berry, right? Put an outline on Twitter, bullet notes on everything that he saw them not do very well on their trip out west. Like, keep that energy, right? Keep whatever put you on edge going into the Virginia game. Keep that energy, even though, Syracuse is a bit underwhelming, right? Even though another one of your rivals, NC State, beat Syracuse by 20 the other game and then came around and said, like, they didn't hit 3 of their 5 team goals and they still won by 20. Like, don't think about that. Don't. Not that they would pay attention to what State's saying, but heck, I'm sure they watch film.
Yeah.
Like, they watch that game. Stay locked in. If UNC plays a game that's 80% of their ability, I think they win this one going away. But the issue is if they chill a little bit, they overlook a little bit, 60% of your ability will get beat by anybody in the ACC.
Yeah, and they do have some talent on this Syracuse team, too. Donnie Freeman is a baller, one of the better freshmen. There's a lot of great freshmen in the ACC, but he's a really good one and one to watch for sure. I see a lot of Syracuse folks online talking about how I honestly expect a lot more out of this roster.
They don't love – I know that
they're not thrilled with the coaching decisions this year.
Old Red's getting himself a little in some conversations that he doesn't want to be a part of. There's definite ability on Syracuse. They haven't really put it together as of yet this year, but that's not to say.
And they don't have the interior presence to handle Vasar and Wilson though. They shouldn't. Carolina needs to win this one going away and just keep on trucking.
I would agree with that. But you got to go do it, right? That's the thing. You got to go do it. They probably should have played better a few times this year. So do it. And by the way, like Hubert Davis. We talk a lot about this with Will Wade at State, ironically. Hubert Davis rebuilt his roster in a big way. It's pretty much just Seth Trimble that's back from last year as far as playing a big role. So he's learning, what buttons to push, what strings to pull. He needs to make sure his team shows up on edge, ready to dominate tonight against Syracuse. Oh, yeah, Max just jumped in my headphones here. I don't want to forget this. We have one more big game boxes winner to qualify today. So for the last one today, we'll do 4 more tomorrow. Caller number 10 gets 5 randomly assigned boxes in our Squares grid for the big game this weekend. The person with the box containing the correct pair of numbers at the end of the big game will win a single prize. It's just like every Squares pool you have at your big game parties. The prize, though, is a signed football from Derek Brown. That's right, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. You can win that signed football, but you have to call in now. 919-860-5326, 919-860-5326. Caller number 10 gets themselves 5 squares in big game boxes here with The Drive. Up next, as promised, NC State versus Carolina, women's basketball, 6 p.m. tip-off. Enjoy it. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan.
And me, Chris Lee from WRAL TV.
We're in the offseason, but our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Wake Orthopedics, rolls on.
In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as the NFL Draft approaches.
Insights on free agents and prospects.
Plus all the insider info on who the Panthers want to pick at number 19.
Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Canes Hockey is back. Grab an ice cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Canes. Only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles, so easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside. Official hard tea and lemonade of the Carolina Hurricanes. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Whether you're in school, whether it's in life, you just gotta get